Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Zach, otherwise known as Pulpy Syntax, and today has been a day. I didn't sleep very well last night, guys. I was kind of tossing and turning after my very enjoyable live stream. So I think I resulted in about 5 hours of sleep. So if you notice the dark circles under my eyes, apologies. Went to work, very successful, got some projects signed off on. Happy days. It's currently overcast and very muggy or humid outside, so I'm sitting in here under 3 lights with some air conditioning to bring to you today's reaction, which will be in a clip show format, which has gone well in the past. I think everyone enjoys that. Of the now deleted live stream, a little lesson for some intuitive eating, made by Miss Foodie Beauty a couple of days ago. Not quite sure how many days back we are now. 3? Are we 3 days back? I feel like I'm about 3 days. At least by the time this comes out, it'll be 3 days. This was a really hard one to get through. I have watched it a number of times, and we've built the clip show in that it is chronological. So the topics will jump back and forth quite a bit. Fortunately, I'm the only one who's going to suffer there. But I both wanted to show this content to individuals who may not have seen it. I'm sure everybody's seen it. But also speak on a number of key points throughout this live stream. We'll get to it when we get to it. And why not get to it now? With all of that being said, let's jump into the video. As always, we are sped up, this time to 1.3 times speed. And here we go.
Before we do anything, I want to give Sammy a round of applause because he was a good boy and he let me shave his matted fur off. Alright, so.
Literally the start of this. The start of the mess that is this live stream that I managed to clip down to 1 hour and 20-ish minutes. Sped up, it'll go quicker, please. Let's recognize tone, as we often do, shall we? See how we end up from that beginning.
We're going to talk about this once and for all. And then, like I said in my community post I deleted,
that we all caught.
I am going to explain something to you guys, okay? Number one, I don't know why people expect me to be an expert at intuitive eating, like I'm just supposed to just all of a sudden be cured of any problems I have with eating, etc. overnight. Okay, like, you know, I'm so.
To be fair here, I agree with this point. Now, Chantel and I don't agree at all, ever, really. In this point, however, I will agree. She doesn't know what she's doing.
I recommended when I click on my own video, somebody reacting to my intuitive tacos or my intuitive eating. Like, are you an expert? Are you my nutritionist? Are you my doctor? No. And yes, tacos can be part of intuitive eating. In case you didn't know, hi Mike! In case you didn't know Mike. The 10 principles of intuitive eating, let's just go through them quickly, okay?
We shall. And this part was very hard for me to keep up with because when I heard about intuitive eating, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know how it's meant to work for individuals, and I specifically don't know how it would work for Chantal. She's about to list off 10 pieces of information from this website. I will follow along because I learn a lot better when I'm reading as opposed to talking, and it just, make comments as we go. So buckle in, guys.
Reject the diet mentality. And you have to keep in mind that I know I keep going back and forth between wanting to do health stuff and mukbanging, but
can't you do both? Because isn't your entire argument that you can do both? You're intuitively eating and you're mukbanging, and you can do it both at the same time, right? So why not do both? Oh, wait, because you can't. I think that it is a fool's errand to try and address your diet and mukbang, and oh boy, I will take this as agreements, because I've been saying it for months. Anyway.
to find a balance with this, my own health journey, and still doing some food content that is enjoyable and not always just
don't do that.
You know what I mean? Like my ways of eating are not very conventional, and that's just
Correct.
I think that's just how it's just going to be for me, and I have to try to find ways around it. Anyway,
so stop eating
so that
on
being
camera.
said, reject the diet mentality. Throw out the diet books and magazines, articles that offer you false hope of losing weight quickly, easily, and permanently. Get angry at the diet culture that promotes weight loss and the lies that have led you to feel as if you were a failure
every time a new diet stopped working and you gained back all the weight.
If you allow even one small hope to linger that a new and better diet or food plan might be lurking around the corner, it will prevent you from being free to rediscover intuitive eating.
Okay, cool. So intuitive eating is capitalized. So this, and just, okay, that's just like a grammatical point that I noticed that was interesting. What I'm going to say on this is that all of these points sound like they're coming out of a self-help book and come across, in my opinion, as a little bit culty. They're a little bit like, you just need to stop thinking the way that you used to think and you need to think this way. And it's like, well, that's what the therapy was for, not this intuitive eating pros registered trademark. Anyway.
That is so hard to get out of because I still want to do this whole cycle thing. And that's why I delete comments like that, because, and it's driving me nuts. And I feel like right now, I can't share this stuff because when I see comments like, oh, you're cycling again, you're a diet failure, it fucking triggers me. Okay. So, and I know it's the internet and it shouldn't, but that's why I delete people like that, because I don't want to hear that negative bullshit.
Okay, so we have discussed ways to address the negativity and the comments. Turn your comments off or take a break. Take a break, step away, find yourself, heal yourself, deal with yourself, and then come back. You know? If it's so triggering for you, take yourself, and this is true of a lot of situations where we use the word triggering. If a situation is so triggering for you and you have the ability to take a step back and get out of that situation, just take that. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Don't give yourself, anxiety or panic or negative emotions that you know are going to come because you recognize something as a trigger. Take a step back. Take a step back out of the situation, or ultimately change the situation. You can't control what people say or think. You can't control people's opinions, which we'll get to. You can't control people's criticism. You can control how you see it, or whether or not you're in that situation to begin with. My opinion.
Honor your hunger. Number 2. This is not just for haters. This is like there's people who are non-haters, but who are just like, they don't understand intuitive eating, or people who react to what I'm eating.
I don't
consider themselves haters. So this is for people who just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people just think that I'm like this intuitive eating expert, and like.
To be fair, and I feel the irony in this, she is the authority in a lot of the audience's perspective, right? She is the one saying, this is the thing that I am doing, and she has the authority to say, this is how I understand it, and I'm going to push that message onto my audience. So if you come in here all loud being told, well, this is what I've been told to do, the audience, us, takes your level of authority as ultimate. However, her audience is quite critical and can be a little bit cynical. At me as an audience member, I can be quite critical and quite cynical. So everything that is told to me, I'm going to have to want to go and check up. And this intuitive eating really just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And we've been talking about it for a little while now. Anyway.
Like eating a whole bunch of tacos is not, it's not that it's not intuitive eating. It's people like are just making up definitions of it or blaming me for doing that. And I'm not.
Because it hasn't been explained
very well. Number 2, honor your hunger. Keep your body biologically fed with adequate energy and carbohydrates. Otherwise, you can trigger a primal drive to overeat. Once you reach the moment of excessive hunger, all intentions of moderate, conscious eating are fleeting and irrelevant. Learning to honor this biological signal sets the stage for rebuilding trust in yourself and in food. Okay.
So there are some of these that Chantel just skips over. I've got a lot to say, because always. I don't understand what biologically fed is in regards to. Is there a way I can mechanically feed my body? Chemically feed my body? Biologically feed my body? I don't understand that. With adequate energy and carbohydrates. Intuitive eating, whoever wrote this, intuitive eating pros registered trademark, I would disagree. My very, very basic and general understanding of carbohydrates, and again, prefacing this entire conversation with not a mental or physical healthcare professional, just a dude who lost some weight. Carbohydrates, not as required as proteins and fats. For me. Trigger a primal drive to overeat? I mean, during my diet, I have overeaten. I don't believe I have had a primal drive to overeat. And considering primal as a word, if we reflect back on like pre-modern man and their diet, do we think there was a lot of carbohydrates in that diet? Chat. Audience? I'm not on the live stream. Feel free to let me know what our thoughts are on primal drive to overeat as a phrase. Once you reach the moment of excessive hunger, all intentions of moderate conscious eating are fleeting and irrelevant. This is the language that gets me. It's not like it is. There is no doubt science behind intuitive eating, right? There is likely, and I've seen like some research and papers in reference to psychology and this way of dieting, right? It's just, it seems very soft in regards to science, that it doesn't, the hard science is harder to find. Learning to honor this first biological signal sets the stage for rebuilding trust in yourself and in food. It's all, it's all just very, I don't appreciate this type of language, clearly. It's just me.
Make peace with food. Number 3. Call a truce. Stop the food fight. Give yourself unconditional permission to eat. If you tell yourself that you can't or shouldn't have a particular food, it can lead to intense feelings of deprivation that build into uncontrollable cravings and often binging.
Okay.
When you finally give in to your forbidden foods, eating will be experienced with such intensity, it usually results in Last Supper, overeating, and overwhelming guilt.
That's a lot. Why are we talking about the Last Supper when we're discussing a diet? That seems strange to me. At this point, I had particular gumption with, because an individual can deprive themselves of particular foods for good reason. People with allergies, intolerances, people with, a longer laundry list of medical conditions, potentially diabetes or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, you perhaps may be told by experts that you can't or shouldn't have particular foods because they will make you sick. So I don't believe intuitive eating works for everybody. And I believe you couldn't necessarily say intuitive eating isn't just another blanket diet. And it's not just in relation to there are no good or bad foods discussion, which is fine. That's a mental perception or a personal perception rather, of food or foods. But yeah, this type of language definitely doesn't cover particular bases. And I feel like in this circumstance, there may need to be a specific diet and not just a blanket, do whatever you want, we'll get into it. This is going to be a long video.
Challenge the food police. Scream aloud no to thoughts in your head that declare you're good for eating minimal calories or bad because you ate a piece of chocolate cake. The food police monitor the unreasonable rules that diet culture has created. The police station is housed deep in your psyche, and its loudspeaker shouts negative barbs, hopeless phrases, and guilt-provoking indictments.
See what I mean?
So do people on the internet. Chasing the food police away is a critical step in returning to intuitive eating.
It just sounds really culty, in my opinion.
There's some good ones coming up, so just bear with me. It won't take too much longer.
Very
okay?
manipulative
Number 5,
language.
discover the satisfaction factor. The
What are they
Japanese
trying
have
to
the
sell
wisdom
me?
to
Oh,
keep
look,
pleasure as
books.
one of their goals of healthy living.
Oh,
In
they
our
can
compulsion to
become a
comply with diet
counselor.
culture, we often
Nice.
overlook one of the most basic gifts of existence: the pleasure and satisfaction that can be found in the eating experience. When you eat what you really want in an environment that is inviting, the pleasure you derive will be a powerful force in helping you feel satisfied and content. By providing this experience for yourself, you will find that it takes just the right amount of food for you to decide you've had enough. Okay, so just one more sec. Feel your
It's okay. She's not speaking on these topics, so I will. Because, of course. I don't know too much about Japanese diets or the cultural relationship to food and healthy living there. I do recall reading something about appearance in Japanese culture, particularly with obesity, and it's not a good one from memory. Please feel free to jump down into the comments below and have a conversation, and I'll be there with you about that, because that seems strange to me to mention the Japanese having wisdom to keep pleasure as one of their goals of healthy living. I mean, yes, but diet is also part of that, and addressing a healthy diet and a requirement for a healthy diet must be kind of bundled into it. Yeah, sure. This is talking a lot about pleasure and food, and, recently I've been having a lot of conversations and thoughts about food as a fuel source rather than a thing that makes me happy or a thing that makes me sad. And that's just addressing my own mental relationship with food. Just the right amount of food for you to decide you've had enough. And enough is in quotation marks. And again, we have had this discussion a couple of times in regards to the nervous system and how messed up it can get when you stretch your stomach out after overeating for decades. We will continue.
your fullness, you need to trust that you will give yourself the foods that you desire. Listen for the body signals that tell you that you are no longer hungry. Observe the signs that show that you're comfortably full. Pause in the middle of eating and ask yourself how the food tastes and what your current hunger level is. Cope with your emotions with kindness.
This is
First,
number
recognize
7.
that food restriction, both physically and mentally, can in and of itself trigger loss of control, which can feel like emotional eating. Find kind ways to comfort, nurture, distract, and resolve your issues. Anxiety, loneliness, boredom, and anger are emotions we all experience throughout life. Each has its own trigger, and each has its own appeasement. Food won't fix any of these feelings. It may comfort for the short term, distract from the pain, or even numb you, but food won't solve the problem. If anything, eating for an emotional hunger may only make you feel worse in the long run. You'll ultimately have to deal with the source of your emotion, and that's what I'm definitely, I do that sometimes. Realistically, a lot of people do that, you turn to something else to try to fix it, to try to self-medicate, and I'm hoping that therapy will help with that. Respect your body. Accept your genetic blueprint. Just as a person with a shoe size of 8 would not expect to realistically squeeze into a size 6, it is equally futile and uncomfortable to have a similar expectation about body size. But mostly, respect your body so you can feel better about who you are. It's hard to reject a diet mentality if you are unrealistic and overly critical of your body size or shape. All bodies deserve dignity. 9. Movement.
I quite heavily agree with the intent of respecting your body. I would also like to preface and say you need to love yourself enough to work towards the changes that you want to see and that are healthy and realistic, right? I think even at my heaviest, I respected my body in the way that it was my physicality. It allowed me to live, it allowed me to function. My mentality on my body has changed quite a bit. I don't hate what I see in the mirror anymore actively, which is good, and I don't avoid my reflection like I've spoken on previously. And I absolutely respect my body, but I respected it enough to keep it healthy. Because ultimately, it's my mortal shell. As soon as something goes, it goes. So I love myself enough and respect my body enough to want the best for it. Each and every day. Not doing 3 straight mukbangs, and Tim Hortons will talk about it. I know. I don't know what I'm going to do for Fitness Friday. There's going to be a lot of squats.
Forget militant exercise, just get active and feel the difference. Shift your focus to how it feels to move your body rather than the calorie burning effect of exercise. If you focus on how you feel from working out, such as energized, it can make the difference between rolling out of bed for a brisk morning walk or hitting the snooze alarm. Okay.
I don't know what Foodie Beauty's sleeping schedule is like at the moment. I don't know if she's getting up in the morning or going to bed in the morning. From this live, I think we know. A brisk morning walk probably is not necessarily on the cards. For me, I don't count the calories that I burn in exercise as, like, I don't refeed on them. So if I say I'm eating 1,500 calories on the day, if I burn 500 calories, I'm not going to bump that to 2,000. That is just my progress through weight loss. It absolutely stagnates. It absolutely stalls. There are weeks where I'll, think I'll put on a kilo and then lose 1.5 kilos the next week, and it all evens out in the wash and it's fine. Because fluctuations and all of that. Movement absolutely helps. In regards to the diet, I think it needs to be focused on less for the morbidly obese. This is my uneducated opinion, just as someone who lost some weight. Because being at a certain size, you can be sedentary and watch what you eat and still have the weight fall off. Movement is absolutely, I love going for a walk. I love going for a skate. I love the ability to get outside and do things. And even if it's jogging on the spot at home or doing stretches at home, whatever, I love the fact that I can do that. And it's a lot less painful now that I'm smaller. So I also recognize the fact that the bigger you are, the more discomfort you have. Unfortunately, when you do make a lifestyle change, in my opinion, it is going to be uncomfortable in some regard. Mentally, emotionally, physically, you will go through discomfort because you are changing your lifestyle. And for the better. That's the point, right? Right? That's the point.
Honor your health, gentle nutrition. Make food choices that honor your health and taste buds while making you feel good. Remember that you don't have to eat perfectly to be healthy. You will not suddenly get a nutrient deficiency or become unhealthy from one snack or meal or one day of eating. It's what you eat consistently over time that matters. Progress, not perfection, is what counts.
Yep.
So those are, in a nutshell, the 10 principles of intuitive eating.
Yes.
And that's what I'm working on. And yes, I still struggle with it. No, sometimes when I eat, I'm not practicing intuitive eating because it takes a lot of practice, and I'm still struggling with these principles. So,
sure.
Anyways,
I said.
So yes. I hate when I see that, this meal is not intuitive eating. This is not intuitive eating. Yes, cooking my own meals. I'm going to be doing a lot more cooking, but I'm going to be cooking things that are satisfying.
Now that this is a couple of days old, Tim Hortons would like to say where? Tim Hortons would like to say where. Because I haven't seen the video. I've just seen the chat about it. And forgive me if I'm incorrect, please let me know. But isn't it a mukbang? Isn't it like an entire what I eat in the day, all at Tim Hortons? Do you cook Tim Hortons at home? Is that what happened? Anyway.
And sometimes I'm gonna eat unhealthy, and I'm just not gonna feel guilty about it, I'm just not going to. I'm just gonna move on, and that's it. I'm just gonna accept that. I'm trying to get out of that mentality that this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good. Because at the beginning, I do have health issues, and
yes.
No, the blood clots are not caused by my diet, says my doctor.
More than likely the sedentary lifestyle. I know
there's higher risk for people that are overweight and everything, but anyways.
My opinion, my unlearned, uneducated opinion.
And realistically for me, this is just something I want to see through.
Okay.
If it helps get rid of the binges, if it helps me repair my relationship with food. I'm not looking for a diet, I want to change my whole attitude and relationship with food. So, yes, you can have tacos and still be eating intuitively. If your body says that if you want tacos, you're really craving tacos, I guess you could try to make them healthier.
What the fuck?
A taco from Taco Bell is 200 calories, I don't know. It's just if you're...
How is any of this reflecting correctly on intuitive eating? Please let me know. We just went through the 10 steps, but you're now saying you've said multiple things in the sentence. It's okay if you if your body is craving or you are intuitively wanting to eat a taco, that's fine. You're then saying, but you could make it healthy. But is your body telling you want to make it healthy? Is the intuitive eating likeness of your craving, of your desire for food, of your diet, is that saying, I want a nasty soggy Taco Bell taco, or I want to upgrade to a healthier taco? And intuitive eating has nothing to do with calorie counting. It is the polar opposite of calorie counting, from my understanding. So why, what? Why? Why would it matter if a taco's 200 calories if you're intuitively eating? Because you don't count calories on intuitive eating. I don't understand. And this is why the narratives get so confusing. Because many contradictions. There will be many contradictions.
It will prevent you from binging on Taco Bell and get a couple tacos. You know what I mean?
Yes. Binge so you don't binge later.
It was a video too, so...
Allegedly.
Anyways, I'm just saying, I'm just so over sharing, because it's just it's just not, it's too toxic. It's just so, you know what I mean?
No.
To say it's just unrealistic for people to eat completely, just guys, I would order out 2 times a day and then snacks at night, and I would just eat so much. And yeah. It's just hi, B. Walsh.
Which makes me sad.
It's just to say, okay, go only eat whole grains and broccoli and super healthy food.
What's
right
wrong
away.
with that?
It doesn't work that way. That's why it's never worked. It just continues the cycle because it's just too extreme,
Forgive me if I'm incorrect, but earlier this week, perhaps late last week, Chantel said she's going to aim to do takeout 1 day a week. Correct? Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was the case. And in the past, there has been a lot of messaging around fast food Fridays being a thing. And it's good to set goals. We talk a lot about setting goals, making the journey one step at a time, knowing what you have to do to succeed. So that's good to sit down and say, this is my goal. My goal is to do fast food 1 day a week, and everything else is not going to be fast food. In the last week, we've just seen, no, let me justify fast food every day. And then in this latest mukbang, oh boy, an entire day of takeout. Now is it just turning the content on the head and saying, well, this is how bad it could be. See, I'm doing well. It could be worse. Let me show you how it could be worse. All right. I mean, it's not worse for us.
When you're struggling and you're overweight and it's the topic is food and everything else, just social media is so toxic about that, And until you're actually at a point where you've lost a lot of weight and you're showing people that you've done it, I'm just done that. Whatever. I just can't. It's just too toxic. I just want to just do videos that I have fun with, and I want to enjoy food. I don't want it to be a punishment. I don't want a diet to be a punishment. Oh, you've overeaten all your life. Now you have to punish yourself and eat 1,200 calories a day and not enjoy the food. You can't have carbs, just have vegetables and lean turkey. Fuck that. That's not going to last long.
This is my diet. This is my diet that I've been on for 12 months now, 11 months now. And there are periods where I overeat, and there are periods where I bake a tray of brownies and allow myself to eat it. And it's okay. Again, it's about being consistent most of the time. Perfection's not going to exist. But having a goal and having a focus and, perhaps eating 1,200 calories and eating fresh vegetables and lean turkey, I'll say it worked for me. So for you to sit here and say it's not going to work, Chantel, I would like to call out that as false. That type of diet absolutely can work. And if you gave it a try, maybe it'd work for you. Now, again, I differ because I do not believe I have BED. I do not believe I have an eating disorder. I have not been diagnosed with anything there. Do I have interesting relationships with food? Yes. Yes, I believe I do. Nothing's been diagnosed though, so I won't say anything. But I believe I do have, in some regard, an unhealthy relationship and an emotional connection with food that I recognize personally. But I can work on that. And Chantal, you almost weekly tell us about your BED and your addiction. So much so that I get frustrated because I see the use happening on the YouTubes. You are an addict and you are using on camera and you are gaining from that. So it's very confusing to say I know all of these things are wrong, but let me just not take any steps. Again, it's the therapy's happening, allegedly, slowly but surely, so we'll see where that goes. But it's the timing for me. The timing's kind of the thing, because we got told at the start of the year about the health, the critical health, the deteriorating health. And so to kind of sit here and tell us, no, it's okay because I'm doing this diet that lets me eat this way, I feel like your pancreas and your liver may have something different to say about the whole situation type deal. We'll continue.
That's just not gonna happen. That's just not gonna happen,
No, so maybe you need to step
so
away.
What I've been really doing is
and do it
I
off
have
camera.
been listening mostly, and I find that some people, oh hi Joe.
In my opinion,
some people, it's little things like I just notice. Some days I really want cooked meals, and even now, like doing my plan for my videos, I was like, I want to have a burger day because you know what? I love cheeseburgers. I love burgers. That's one of my favorite foods ever, and why should I stop eating it? Like. It's not having a burger meal that's unhealthy. It's gorging on,
Guys, I know we're quite early into this clip show, but I'm going to say this now. I'm not here to badger or bully or harass or humiliate or make anyone feel bad about their own life, including Chantel, right? I'm here to speak on content that has been produced and it is or was, because the live stream's obviously been removed, publicly available, right? This content was publicly available to any audience, right? So can it be criticized? Yes. Can it be commented on? Yes. We are free to do those things. I'm not sitting here spewing hate. It's not my gig. I don't do it. Because I'd much rather see some joy and happiness in the world. However, I will call out these shenanigans as what they are. Because if you're an individual just jumping into this corner of the internet and this is the first thing you saw, could you imagine? Or maybe you'd only seen the last week of Chantel and you'd become a new fan, one of her new subscribers. And you caught this live and you were like, oh boy, what? Also, what's intuitive eating? Maybe I could follow up on that. Ooh, a diet that lets me eat like shit and not address my critical health concerns? Sign me up. I'm not saying any of the audience actually thinks that. But we have to remember the power of media, particularly in the perception of a content creator. Because if you're not familiar with this corner of the internet, and even myself, we'll get into it later, but I'm not familiar with every player of this. I'm not familiar with every storyline that has ever happened. I'm not, but I'm learning and growing. And who boy do I have issues with this line of discussion.
So I just figure I want to have like a burger days series where I make different kinds of burgers, but like at home and try different kinds of burgers.
This
like
conversation
more
has
with food and stuff.
been
And
had
yes,
before.
I still do. They haven't been binges, Blondie Blue. They're not binges. You don't
Blondie
know me.
Blue.
You don't know my eating disorder. You don't know what a binge is for me. And I take a personal offense to that because you don't know what a binge is. I've never, ever binged a full binge on camera, ever.
Here's a receipt. So I have a vested interest in calling out the shenanigans, right? Because it's, as I said before, if you're a new viewer, like, you might not know. And I consider myself a relatively new viewer to this sphere, right? So she still has videos with binge in the title on her YouTube. Whether or not they are fully monetized, not fully monetized, we don't know. But that content still exists. And sure, it's 3 years old, but to sit here and bold-faced lie and say, well, you've never seen one of my binges, why are the titles Why? Why are the titles in reference to a binge? We know there's been deleted live streams, particularly an infamous McDonald's breakfast in a car that has been produced and was publicly available on this platform for a time. At least while it was going live. More than likely it wasn't saved. I don't think it was ever saved. So what's the tea? What's the truth? The tea. Who am I? What's the truth? What's the truth of it all? So either your titles are kind of clickbaity and you're saying that, oh, this is me binging, this is me partaking in my BED, or we don't know. We're the ignorant audience. We've never seen the truth. What is it? What is it? Again, we're on to subjective versus objective truth.
Why are you here, Gabby? Like, why are you here? Get out of here. Like, why do people come here to watch just to counter what I'm saying? Like, do you not have anything better to watch? If you don't like me, or you don't like what I do, or you don't believe what I say, go watch something else. No,
I'll be here because I believe, once again, in calling out the shenanigans. And like I said, I'm not here to badger or bully. I'm not here to humiliate or harass. Alliteration Zach's here today. Not here to do any of those things. Only here to speak on the problematicness of it all. Yeah? That's what it is for me. It's just the nonsense. Ultimately, it's just the nonsense. And again, I talk a lot about using Chantel and Amber both for inspirational and motivational purposes. And even with something like this, it's particularly evident to me that I want to wake up tomorrow and live a better life and not surround myself with yes men. I want to wake up tomorrow and be able to take someone's opinion and take it like an adult. Take it as constructive feedback, take it as criticism, take it or not take it if I choose to, but at least be adult about it. It's like it's fine. It's fine.
So, but people are worried about me, but I'm still living, I have to live my own life. You can't live somebody's life for them. You can't bully them into changing. You can't tell them what to do. If you really want to help, shut the fuck up and let me do what I need to do my own way. And I mean that as nicely as possible.
Then don't.
I'm sick of people trying to dictate what fat people should and shouldn't do. And that's part of the disordered mentality right then and there. And I'm tired of explaining it with every single thing I eat. People trying to make me feel bad for what I eat. If you want to help, then just be quiet. It's not, you can't shame somebody into changing. It makes things worse.
Sure. I'm like, so, a lot of my discussions are not aimed at helping Chantel. They're not. And like, would they help? Probably not, considering the disregard for authority. Not saying I have any authority, I just happen to lose some weight, so I can talk about my own personal experiences and suggest things with authority, right? Which we'll get into later. So the things I say, probably not likely to help Chantel. But I have said a few times this week that I believe Chantel's audience is made up of individuals who see elements of themselves in the content. Maybe not in Chantel personally, but certainly in the content when it comes to relationships with food, when it comes to just eating habits in general. I believe a large portion of the audience potentially is struggling in some way with food, because I'm only speaking on my own opinion and perception here, but for me, it is ultimately interesting seeing someone wrestle with similar issues that I did at one stage. And for me to sit here and say, I don't want to turn out like this. I need to wake the hell up, Zach. Wake up. Address the things that are going on, because, you work hard, be better, do better. Be kind to yourself and love yourself enough to not end up here. Anyway.
Yeah, a binge. I wouldn't even be allowed to put that video on YouTube, guarantee. They don't want to people talking about their problems like that. So
3 years ago.
Honestly, if you want to hear what a real binge is like, it's not, that Wendy's meal I had is not a binge. Okay. That was nothing. That was 1,400 calories.
What about the
But
Tim
you know
Horton
what?
day?
That's all I had today. I didn't have the salmon. Pete's did, and the leftovers.
I'm not
right
food
here.
policing here.
For
I
him
don't.
tomorrow. I
It
don't
doesn't
feel like
matter.
eating it because that meal
It's
was
the
very
fact that
filling. It
it's
was 1,400
on
calories,
camera.
and I'm allowed to eat more than that. Okay. So and I had a smoothie, a cherry smoothie with just cherries and coconut water.
Probably
So
not
I mean,
great.
if you guys are just gonna
for the
expect to come here
pancreas.
and just me make healthy home cooked meals all the time,
Maybe.
that's not gonna happen. So if you're gonna be upset by that, just leave now because that's just not realistic for me. As somebody who's eaten it like 3 times a day or more, you know. So, anyways. I'm not talking about the people, my respectful viewers, Blondie Blue. I got mad at you because you're saying that that's a binge, and it's not. You don't know my eating disorder. Like, you know? So, and just because I get paid for my videos doesn't mean I'm going to kiss people's ass when they don't deserve it. Sorry, I'm not like that. I never will be.
That's fine. There's an abrasiveness to this character, and that's fine. In regards to Blondie Blue, there are multiple points in this video where just the vitriol coming out aimed at the audience is really quite confronting, in all honesty. It's very rare for me to see a content creator react at this level to audience members. It's quite rude, to be completely fair. And it's rude in a way that it's not defense versus aggression. It's just someone's opinion that someone doesn't want to hear, and them not being able to take the opinion or completely ignore the opinion. It's just reactive, which is a little ironic because we're doing a react. It is interesting because this argument could be made of other content creators that, well, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes, you don't know my disorder, you don't know all of this, you don't live my life. And it's true, we don't live Chantel's life. And, you know, I'll say I'm much happier in my own skin. However, it is a challenge in this particular media format, which is slice of life, which includes things like vlogging, hauling, mukbanging, because it's all focused on Chantel as a character. So it's hard for audiences to delineate when they are being shown the real and raw you guys. But then for the creator to say, well, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. It's like, okay, but you show us vlogs. You talk about things that you're doing. You talk about things that you've done. Consistently talking on, you know, community tabs and things like that. I'm not begrudging that. I'm just saying that in this sphere, in this category of content, it is a particularly hard thing to say to audiences, you don't know me, when you've been basically showing them a day in your life every other day, you know? Anyway, we will continue.
A break. So yeah, that triggers me when people say this is a binge just because it's unhealthy food. There's eating unhealthy, there's overeating, and then there's binging. Mm-hmm. And binge eating is so much more than just what you put in your mouth. It's a whole shitstorm of things going on. There's a whole bunch of like negative emotions, there's shame, there's guilt.
From my understanding, this
just
sounds correct.
Wanting to hurt your body with food, basically. It's a form of self-harm, just like overeating to that point.
I did keep this in for a specific reason because I don't believe, and I've watched quite a bit of Chantel content over the last year, I don't believe I've ever heard her reference her binges as harm. And it is particularly interesting because earlier this week, a lot of videos and content that have been focused on the health story and the health journey have either been privatized, hidden, or removed. And we don't know why, right? Now, I'll say all of this with a big fat asterisk, allegedly, and in my opinion, perhaps Daddy G had gumption with that content. And that's where this conversation's coming from. This is now justification for me eating on camera is not a binge. Yep, we understand that. You're making that argument, and that's okay. And from my understanding, a planned binge doesn't make sense in the definition. don't have BED. I don't suffer with it, so I don't know. But it's just my layman's understanding of it, yeah? So, okay, you're not binging on camera, is the story. And that would sync up with potentially Daddy G having an issue with using on camera. My opinion, if you're eating on camera and you've got an addiction to food/eating, and that's not the BED, that's the food addiction, and that is still using on camera, and I just have a problem with that. I have a problem with that, and I will tell anyone that listens. I have a problem with that. So it is just interesting in the narrative of the platform and this channel in particular. Again, this is not about Chantel. This is not about Chantel as a person. This is not about Chantel as an individual. This could be anybody making these exact same arguments and actions, and it would be just as interesting. It's nothing personal. It's just about the content.
Sometimes people overeat. Like, it's natural to overeat. We do it, especially on holidays. Sometimes you go out for dinner, you have too much because portions are just too large in general, and it happens. You know,
it does happen.
It's a human thing. It happens, and we're meant to enjoy food. So, just because I have issues with food, doesn't mean that I have to avoid any pleasure with food at all. Because that's just completely going against human nature. You know.
I would love to hear from a much more learned individual than I. Food does give elements of pleasure, like we've spoken about serotonin and dopamine and things like that, because there are very primal, there's that word, systems in the body that reward calorie-dense food, that reward eating, essentially, because the body, like, one of the body's ultimate goals is to not starve. The problem with that system is that it hasn't evolved to the point where our food availability is now. So it's a tricky thing for the body to be constantly receiving calories. And we don't, for a large population of the world, we don't go through periods of famine. But our body doesn't realize that. So when our body is receiving all of these delightful, calorie bombs, it's thinking, I've got to save every ounce of this for when we run out of food. At least for me, I don't think I've hit a point where I've run out of food. So much so that my body, my body would be correct in thinking that. But this is what happens with evolutionary systems that aren't, catching up to the environment. Again, not a learned professional, not a physical or mental health care professional, just a thing that I understand as a layman.
Overeat every meal of every day. You don't know what I see. You don't know what I eat. You don't count and measure everything I eat. Fatty liver, fatty liver, fatty liver, fatty liver, fatty liver. That's why I'm not sharing my health with anybody anymore. Because the minute you say something, people just hold that against you all the time. Like I said, diagnosed with fatty liver does not mean that your eating disorder just, oh, you have fatty liver?
Correct.
Bye.
I agree with
it. It doesn't work like that for everybody.
I agree with the statement, but I also think that being told you had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and potentially pre-diabetic levels of blood sugar, or you were potentially pre-diabetic, I feel like those should be light switch moments to say, ding, okay, time to take things seriously. Time to stop what I'm doing, because I can't accept that a therapist would be pro mukbang in this situation type deal style moment. I can't accept it. Only in so much, even I don't have a lot of experience with therapy, obviously not a psychologist, but it seems to me like if there were a level of honesty and transparency there, perhaps a therapist would see this and say, this is not good, this is not healthy, this is not a healthy way for you to address your BED. I don't think. And even if it wasn't that opinion in particular. Even without the therapy, as an individual, if I had been doing this content for 3 to 4 years and my health had reached this stage and nothing had yet changed, would you not reflect back on your previous years of mukbanging and say, maybe this is what's wrong. Maybe this is the thing that's causing my health to deteriorate and my relationship with food to seemingly not get better. You know? I don't believe you can be so obtuse to completely disassociate the mukbangs from the addiction, because you are benefiting from them in multiple ways, not just eating the food that you want to eat or using because addiction, but you're also gaining from it monetarily. So there's no downside apart from the health, which is not seeming to be all that important from an audience's perspective. But I digress.
As long as I lose weight, it's not only what I eat, it's, as long as I lose some weight, it will improve. Mm-hmm. And I'm working. That's all I can say. I'm working on it, So anyways, I'm not going to change people's minds because most people are determined to misunderstand me or twist what I say or whatever. It's just how it's always going to be. So I'm just going to be blocking those.
It's not about misunderstanding and it's not about twisting what anybody says. It's, again, the messaging a content creator gives to an audience. If you tell us one thing and show us something different, we're going to call shenanigans. We're either going to be very confused, not be able to follow the narrative because, my God, that is just a line of spaghetti, or we'll call out the shenanigans. Audience members. And it's YouTube, man. Like, it is YouTube. You can't just make these videos in a bubble. You don't get to. So you don't get to control the narrative all the time. But you do have, you have elements of control, but you actually need to make sure that there is a narrative, that there's kind of a through line, that there's a point, So, unfortunately, you don't get to create everything in a vacuum. You don't. So you don't get to control everything. Because if you did create it all in a vacuum, you wouldn't be on YouTube. You would have your videos behind a paywall. You would say, my loyal and trusted viewers can give me money to watch my videos, and you wouldn't be on a public platform. Right? Also, I didn't touch on it earlier, and I'm sure it'll come up shortly. I can't stand loyal viewers, true supporters. I can't stand that language because I've already mentioned culty language previously in this with the intuitive eating. But when you as a creator sit here and say, the people who are saying the things I like are true supporters, and the people who have opinions that differ from mine are haters, I have a problem with that. Because you're essentially splitting your audience, you're dividing your audience, and that does not a healthy relationship between content creator and audience make, in my opinion. It causes a stir, it causes drama, and I believe in Foodie Beauty's case on this channel, there is an echo chamber. She has surrounded herself with yes men, and it is entirely about shutting down and shutting out any opinion, any conversation, any piece of information or knowledge or education that would differ from the shenanigans narrative that is trying to be fed to us as audience members. And that's why I honestly believe a lot of reactors do what they do. Because if you're not to say just an audience member, but if you're just commenting, or if you're just in the chat, and you're blocked so nothing gets seen, or you're trying to share an opinion and your comments are removed or moderated or whatever. As a content creator, you have all the right to do that. That's absolutely fine. However, should you is another question. And particularly in this instance where it just keeps getting worse. I mean, it's a tricky thing to talk about.
And whatever, but I've just wanted to really this is your lesson, okay? This is your lesson on the 10 principles, but there is a whole book, there is a whole way of it. I don't know. I don't even, this might not even work. I don't know. This is like
Okay.
very, very, I've only been in therapy for what, 3 weeks now? You know, like, I'm sorry. And I've lived with an eating disorder for what, over 20? Come on. Like,
Years,
do the math,
not weeks,
you know?
was what we gathered.
Comments are being deleted if they're asshole comments.
That.
Eating a fast food reduced in those 3 weeks. Yeah, it has. It has. I'm actually it's starting to sink in that I don't have to rush and eat all the fast food in one day. I just, I'll get to eat it again. It's not the end of the world. And I crave homemade foods. Like, like having a smoothie or something even homemade is a big progress, because I would just eat I don't want to turn comments off because,
Okay, I call shenanigans on that because we've seen her have smoothies in the past before. It's not some groundbreaking thing. It has happened in the past. We have seen it. Cherries and coconut water, I've got no problem with it. It's carbohydrates, but whatever. But then there's the pancreas we need to consider. But no one cares. She doesn't care, so no one cares.
I don't want my loyal viewers to not have a place to comment.
Loyal viewers?
Or, you know what I mean? I want it to be a positive space, but I want people to...
An echo chamber?
My loyal viewers who've been watching me forever and who do support me.
Loyal
to have
supporters.
A place to, say what they want to say. Say something nice.
What's that about, then? Because you yourself as the content creator or your moderators would be able to moderate both the chats and the comments. You could put in your restricted phrases. You could do all of that stuff. It's still a public platform. These are not private videos. These are not private videos shared to loyal subscribers and true believers or followers, whatever. It's public. It's entirely public. Does everyone remember when BuzzFeed ran that article on Chantel and her cheese cemetery mukbang? That was picked up by press. This is public. So to say that I will create content for a public platform and then to say that y'all can just be quiet apart from the people who are my yes men or yes women. It's truly disingenuous and makes me not understand why she hasn't taken her content off the platform. Because go put it up somewhere else. If that's what you want. If the reaction, and we'll get into it, if the reactors give so much grief, if people's comments and opinions insult you so much, again, we'll get into it. If you didn't want to block all your comments and you wanted to give your supporters a place to support you, you could do it in other ways that wasn't a public platform. You could hide it behind a paywall. You could, open up a Discord server. You could do so many other things than what is happening here and what has been happening for a long time and seems to be, not working so well.
That's why I don't want to share, because I knew the minute I said something about intuitive eating, the minute I do anything food related on my channel, people are going to take it and run and start reacting to it and be like, oh, this is such intuitive eating, isn't it? Yeah, it can be.
I don't agree with intuitive eating. Whether or not it is intuitive eating or not doesn't matter to me. I'm here to say I don't understand intuitive eating and I don't think it works. And that's just my opinion. And that's fine. If I were to branch out into my content and start doing mukbangs, not happening. I perhaps have enjoyed sitting down to dinner on a stream. I'm not showing that. I'm not showing myself eating. I'm enjoying company. But in all honesty, if I were to do that with this narrative of intuitive eating, I feel like there would be just as many confused comments and opinions. Because no one, from my understanding, intuitive eating I don't get it. I don't get it. And maybe I need to read up more on it. I just don't understand how it could work for someone who has eaten themselves to this point. And as someone who was morbidly obese, it would not work for me. Especially when one of the key points is, you may put on weight to start off with, but you'll get a hold of it. It's like, no, my high blood pressure said, no, I can't do that. But that's just me and my story, right?
Anyway, real viewers don't talk about diets, and they don't, they just like watch me. There's people who've been there from day one. I don't want to like ostracize them or prevent them from, you know what I mean? So
people who have been on this channel from day one maybe expect a little bit more, like, get ready with me, like, let me show you how to do this, like, makeup routine, maybe, because those were like the first videos, right? That is not important. I can't with these arguments.
Anything. I'm not going to be sharing my health. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
The problem here is you can't separate diet from health. You can't, because you've already opened the door to say, I have all of these ailments, and guess what? These ailments are directly related to my diet. And I'm not talking about intuitive eating here. I'm just talking about the diet as in the food I'm consuming. So any content moving forward that has food is going to be scrutinized because you've already opened the door. You made, was it 2 live streams or was it a video and a live stream at the start of the year talking about your ER visit? One of your thumbnails was you laying in bed with a mask on. So, and those, funnily enough, I can't actually see them now, but from memory, it is my assumption that those videos were your highest viewed videos in the month of January. Maybe December, January. So when I saw them last, it was like 50,000 views, and the current view count for a lot of this content is between, like, it's kind of hovering around the 30 mark. I'm not one to talk about, like, view numbers, but that doesn't matter. I'm just piecing the information together as an audience member. How many times have I said that?
Through reaction. Hi, punk rock. There's no need to react to every single thing I do.
I don't.
That's harassment.
I don't, and I'm not here to harass or bully. And if anyone thinks that that is the purpose of this channel or the reason why I film myself talking like this, feel free to let me know below, because I'd love to have a conversation about our perception and perhaps disagreement. No. Not here for it.
That's like, why? Like what?
Oh.
Like I farted. Oh, you have to react to that?
No, I won't react to a fart. I just think it's stupid if you're going to edit a clip and you pass gas, like maybe cut it out just for the politeness of your audience, but that's just me. And that's me as a content creator. If I cough or burp, I try to edit around it, or at least mute the microphone. So like it's a kindness, because that's just me though. Yeah, I'll say as my own reactor, I don't do that. I don't react to every single thing Chantel does. So much so that I built a series out of watching her content while not really reacting. Can you call doing exercise to the mukbangs reacting? Not really. I mean, you do get a little bit out of me now and then, but mostly it's groans of dismay because something will happen and and I'll have to do squats. But I digress. We will continue.
To protect their creators who don't make videos badgering other people and
Not
harassing
badgering.
and bullying other people.
Not harassing or bullying.
I'm sorry, but is that not fucking backwards? Nobody shames, KBD production. You know what? Some people have a different metabolism and don't gain weight the same way, okay? So just because somebody is thinner doesn't mean that they're healthier by consuming a lot more fast food than I consume. Because I don't even consume a lot compared to other mukbangers, you know? And that's because I'm just eating what I like, how much I want to eat, I think is enough. I'm not going to undereat either, because then I just want to binge later, you know?
Okay, we're not going to talk about the undereating versus binging, because I believe that's an individual thing and I don't really have a perspective on it. What I do have a perspective on is this. It's the discussion of fat phobia that's not being explicitly mentioned here. It's, well, you're judging me because I I'm big and I have an eating disorder, but KBG Productions, one of them, KBD, yes, okay, wow, Productions. I don't watch their content, so I don't know. But someone please correct me if I'm wrong. In the assumption that KBD Productions does not create, edit, monetize, and upload, in whatever order you want to think of, content talking about them struggling with addiction to food. Because I imagine it would be a very different perception if every other month a content creator who does mukbangs or does food reviews or things like that talks about BED or addiction. And it is one of those things that is the commonality between Amber and Chantal, for me. It is the disassociation and my inherent disagreement that you can have something like an addiction, not address it at all through the eyes of an audience member, right? To say that you have an addiction, to not show the story of how you manage that. And do you have to? No. But again, we talk about audiences getting confused with narratives. Because you can sit here and say, well, I am addressing it. It's like, well, where? We need some proof here, because if you've been suffering with this for so long and continuing to use on camera, again, making a distinct, definitive difference between my understanding of BED and food addiction, not necessarily the same thing. I would imagine other content creators would get called out just as much if that was their story. If they said they were struggling with this thing and then continued to struggle with the thing on camera and gain from that, and then just piss into the wind when it comes to their health. I imagine that there would be just a very similar reaction from the audience. But anyway, we will continue.
Things of nuggets, spicy chicken sandwich, junior bacon cheeseburger, 2 things of chili cheese nachos, baked potato. Like, I would just eat like everything on the menu.
I did find it funny here because she only missed the nachos.
You don't know my disorder. You don't know what is a binge for me. Just because you're a viewer doesn't give you the right to speak about my disorder, Blondie Blue. It doesn't give you a unlimited license to discuss things in my life and not be offended. I'm not allowed to be offended by somebody just because they're a viewer. You know what I mean? Like,
you're allowed to be offended. I don't think you should be offended just because someone's opinion is different than yours in general. I think that many of us have many different perceptions and many different opinions about many different things. But as we grow and as we mature, it is my understanding that most of us gain a level of respect and understanding of other people's opinions and having the ability to disagree with them. We also understand that a lot of the times opinions can't be changed. You can educate people or you can be educated yourself, and sometimes your opinion will change. But sometimes you can just disagree with everything and still hold a respectable opinion. Whether or not it is agreeable for everyone, whether or not it is morally or ethically correct, your opinion is your own. And that's that. That's that on that. Now, to say to an audience member, this, I'm not here.
People will get mad at me or like Jen when a fucking bullying reaction channel gets taken down. When they're like, well, we can't wait for your channel to get taken down because you're monetizing your eating disorder. No, I don't think so. I'm eating. So for YouTube to say that fat people are not allowed to eat on camera, which is we're humans, we're eating a meal, is ridiculous and discrimination. That would be taken to court so easily. If they allow skinny people to do it, they have to do it elsewhere, you know?
This is interesting, right? So there's multiple points to go across here, and it is the fat phobia of it all that's not being mentioned. However, from my understanding, Daddy G, is how I refer to Daddy Google so my assistant doesn't go off. In my opinion, and in my understanding, it's Daddy G's platform. They get to make the rules. Now, yes, Could you say that a certain action from the business could be seen as discriminatory? Potentially. But we do also have to remember that Daddy G has a duty of care, not necessarily to every contractor that is a content creator, but also to their audience, right? They also have a best practice, I would imagine, in regards to specific content getting uploaded. Yeah. The obvious one is about the discussion about copyright, right? And how many systems and how many moving parts there are that control all of that to make sure Daddy G doesn't get in the shit because one of their contractors, like, did some illegal stuff. But we have to remember that there is also other problematic elements of content that they just don't want up on the YouTube, right? I'm thinking specifically of the like sex positive movement and like sex education and how hard that is to keep up on YouTube as a platform. I disagree with a lot of Daddy G's opinions. Practices, that's probably better in regards to that, because I think that needs to be a common talking point and it needs to be available to everyone. However, mukbangs don't. Mukbangs don't. And it is the forever argument that I'm making that I have to agree with Daddy G in that if you're here talking about an addiction and you're using on camera, I don't care about your personal definition of binge. If you say you are addicted to a substance and you are using on camera, then yeah, it's not great. Would it be discrimination? In my opinion, layman, not a professional, in my opinion, if you were to take Daddy G to any kind of court, and you wouldn't really, because although it is a public platform, it is owned, right? Even if you did manage to take them to some kind of legal length and cry discrimination about it all, Daddy G could very easily, particularly in this instance, reflect back on content and say, no, this person is breaching whatever element of terms of service. I'm not saying she is, I'm just saying they literally write the terms of service. You could say that they are in perpetuity, I'm pretty sure. They could literally say, no, they were breaching terms of service in this way. And the terms of service in regards to harm are relatively vague from what I've read. I've only read a couple of paragraphs of it. From my understanding, they are intentionally vague, I imagine, to ensure that it covers many different circumstances, including circumstances like this, where a YouTuber can say, yes, I'm addicted to this thing, now watch me essentially practice use and potentially harm. There. I'm trying to say this as clearly as possible. But that is all just my opinion and my presumptions as well.
Like a nurturing place. Like YouTube is not a nurturing place. Like
it's the
things
internet,
get used against you, and it just messes with your mental health. And not everybody. I mean, some people can deal with it, but
a lot of people can.
I mean, I take the responsibility for like opening that up because I did share my health problems. And people, when they know you have health problems, they scrutinize and use a magnifying glass on you. Like, you're eating too many carbs today. Better watch that fatty liver. Would you want to be like criticized for every single thing you eat?
If you have a problem with criticism, comments, and other people's opinions, don't create content for the internet. That's just my advice. I'm not telling Chantel what to do. It's fine. But if you can't handle people's opinions, if you can't handle people's disagreeing with you, if you get triggered at someone's disagreement, like the internet is probably not the place for you. And like I was about to say earlier in this clip, millions of people are able to create content and handle the heat, to borrow a phrase. Millions of people are able to do that. Some people are a little bit more precious when it comes to the opinions of everyone else, and they don't want to hear it. And in my opinion, and by Chantel's channel as an example, the less you're able to handle it, the more focus you pull, right? And a lot of the times I think, like, man, imagine if all of this was a ruse. Imagine if all of this was just, like, the long game, right? I don't think it is, because her channel hasn't seen, like, large booms of growth. She is also consistently talking about her deteriorating health. So just because the audience keeps bringing it up, I imagine if Chantel had her way, she would just not talk about it at all, which is ultimately the goal I think she has. But that is why, you know, Cynical Zach is probably wrong there, in that this is not a long game. This is just doing what can be done to get by. And that's about it. And living the life that wants to be led. I don't want to live this kind of life. I want to live a better life, which involves making YouTube content, absolutely. But it does not involve partaking in my addiction on camera. Maybe that's like a moral or ethical question.
You're stupid, Hannah. I'm flagging your channel. You cause harm to yourself eating 24/7. You're an idiot.
I disagree with the 24/7.
I eat 24/7. See, I mean, you can't, like, it's just futile explaining to people with, like, one brain cell. I'm sorry, but it's true. They just don't. You're
not sorry, and you're wrong.
So
you've called your audience amoebas. You've called them
that. What was I gonna say? Even eating out once a day, and I haven't been doing it once a day, but even that is like a big improvement. But even if I wanted to eat out 3 times a day, even if I have liver problems and I eat out 3 times a day, it's still not your business. There's so much shame about it. Like, you're already so ashamed when you have an eating disorder. So to be on a platform like this is like just treating fire with fire, and it's just like, I'd rather just like bottle up right now and do things on my own.
Good advice. A moment of clarity, right?
I'm toxic. How am I toxic? Let me know. I'd like to know.
I'd like to open the floor for discussion down in the comments below. Toxicity. Great song. Toxic by Britney Spears and Toxicity. System of a Down, right? Yeah. Great songs. But I would, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of vitriol on the lives, in particular, that we catch, is pretty toxic. And you could argue that, like, surrounding yourself with loyal supporters and telling audience members to fuck off and all of that stuff is pretty toxic. I think it is. We've had discussions this week about, you know, your audience, the audience that you build reflects a lot of your own thoughts, feelings, emotions, the content that you create, particularly when it's in regard to individuals, when it's in regard to slice of life content. So, yeah, I mean, is there toxicity? Toxicity, yeah. In all that's going on here. If you take the audience as a reflection of the content creator, and I'm only talking about the way audience members must feel. And it's been relatively new for me, like, going from watching an individual, hoping that they do really well, wanting the best for them. And I still do. I absolutely do. I want Chantel to win, not in the way she wants to win, but I want her to be healthy and happy and just deal with everything. However, there's a lot of vitriol. There's a lot of what I perceive as an audience member as rage coming up on here. And if I were an audience member who wasn't so caught up on everything, or so critical or focused, or focused, I guess that's a good word, then perhaps I would just take this as as an aside, but when you break down how frequent it is, yeah, toxic's not a wrong word, I don't think.
Besides defending myself against haters, how am I toxic? Exactly. People just make shit up.
Because it is quite clear now, very clear from an audience member, that any comment or opinion that is disagreeable, you're now in hater camp. Loyal supporters, haters, and that's it. There's no grey area. There's no room in between for someone to have a differing opinion but still be a supporter. That doesn't exist anymore. We're back to complete binary camps, which is just not how audiences work.
Or that just people just make shit up to fit their narrative. They cause this like false outrage.
I don't believe
How am I toxic? I do my fucking videos.
I feel like there is some false outrage in this video.
If you bring up things from the past, like, oh yeah, haters are not toxic though, right? Exactly.
That's whataboutism. Let me just not address my own situation, but like, hey, look over there.
People are so ridiculous. Look at what's her face. That life of a whatever. No life of a free spirit.
Callie?
Went ape shit. Can't handle whenever I say something about her, but she can talk all day about me on Twitter or whatever.
Okay, we have to talk about this. Because although going apeshit is a common phrase, it's severely problematic, and holy shit, over the last 2 weeks, have we just seen continued examples of the isms, right? Racism, anti-Semitism, bigotry. We have seen so many examples. So as a human being, if I had been called out so many times about the language that I use in reference to other individuals, I might, I don't know, before going off like this, evaluate what's about to come out of my mouth. I don't watch a lot of Life of a Furry Spirit. I'm aware of who Callie is. I did watch her response, which was concise and extremely well said. In the live stream when I was making this clip show yesterday, I did say that I believe it is everybody's duty to call this shit out and to have a discussion around it and understand why it's bad, right? And ultimately, I had the utmost respect for that individual to not react, but to respond, and for the focus to be on that response, right? So ultimately, I think over the last few weeks, we've seen multiple examples of problematic rhetoric, vitriol, just hate. It's just been really piss poor choices of words. And ultimately, I believe it shines a light on a lot of the isms and just the hate in general, right? Because you think, like, I don't know this for a fact, right? Preface all of this, and this is just my opinion, so feel free to disagree with it, Chantel. Because of this continued nagging, almost, this continued, like, I'm going to try to clap back with this reference to a protected class of individual, like, it's just fucking gross. Telling a Jewish commenter to go react to the Holocaust, gross. Telling a black reactor that she's going apeshit, gross. Like, it's fucking gross. Think before you speak. That's my opinion.
Get the fuck out of here, Jimmy James. I don't care if I have feeders for fans. Why do people use that in a derogatory term? Like, I give a shit what somebody halfway across the world is jerking off to. Do I care? No.
So why do you care about people's opinions?
So ridiculous. Feederism. Eating a meal just because you're fat is feederism? Again, Google's your friend.
No. I disagree with feederism generally. I have a little bit of knowledge about the BDSM culture. So I disagree with feederism. I do. There's a sense of overwhelming control that ultimately, for a lot of the extreme discussion, right, is about taking away someone's mobility. But we're not just talking about, like, restraints. We're talking about physically altering someone's ability to be mobile, to escape, right? Like, that's the discussion. And it's, like, when you get deep into it, frightening. But this entire point, like, what? You clearly don't care about people's opinions who are disagreeing with you. And you clearly don't care about what other people are doing with your content. But you care so much about a reaction. And you care so much about a comment, which we'll get to. But yeah, anyway. I know there was a conversation about feederism happening this week.
The whole lot at that forum is a bunch of autistic shaming, fat shaming, doxing, lower than nothing, pieces of trash. So I'm not surprised. They don't bother me. They're just stupid.
I think she's bothered. Also, I kept that clip in not because I think any particular opinion. I think that Chantel continues to put her foot in her mouth, is just kind of, like, stupid with her words in general. And as someone who falls over their tongue a lot and, like, rambles and forgets where he is in the point of the conversation, I get it. I kept that clip in for posterity, for anyone who hadn't seen the live, to understand what the discussion around that topic in particular was. And you know, what the actual clip was. Now, could you argue that she was trying to say everyone on a particular forum was autistic? Considering the language that she continues and has used over the last 2 weeks? You know, it's hard to give people the benefit of the doubt when you see so many examples of just, like, shitty language.
Everybody who's stupid, okay? Any stupid people, blocked.
I kept that in because it was...
That you're here asking if I have a life. Okay? No, I don't. It's COVID. What the fuck do you want me to do? You want me to go make a snowman right now? Do you want me to plan a trip to Fiji?
I kept this in because absolutely, yes, from my understanding, you could go outside and make a snowman, right? Chuck a mask on, go make a snowman. Probably don't plan a trip to Fiji. You could, though. You could, like, make an entire list of things that you'd really want to see. The islands that you wanted to visit. Particular hotels that you might want to stay at. Like, you could plan it. You probably wouldn't be able to, like, purchase it. But you could plan for the future. There's no harm in that. Just like there's no harm in making a snowman. But instead we get a 24-hour mukbang.
Entertain you guys. I just want to, you know, keep my personal life to myself because I think that's probably the best thing. I know a lot of people have said that I should do that, and yes, I should.
Yeah,
I should have listened to
an
that,
easy way to do that would be to
I think I've
take it offline.
Shot myself in the foot with my channel growth because of how much I go back and forth. But you know what? I don't do that for fucking pleasure. I do that. That's my life. That's actual shit I'm going through. I'm not doing it to troll people. I'm not doing it with your thoughts or feelings in mind at all when I do something. I just do what I do, you know? So it's like, yeah, I know a lot of you people would like to hear about my health and stuff, but for now, especially while I'm in the beginning and I'm coping with things, and I just think that so many people are, like, just conditioned to in the diet mentality. So, like, exactly, Nita. There's always going to get something. There's always going to be people who do that. I know.
Who disagree with you?
There's, like, thousands of people who watch my videos, and
yes,
so many of them are never going to understand me or understand what I'm going through or whatever. And I can't change that. And when I get frustrated and upset, it only hurts me. So I'm fully aware of those things. And yeah, like, I am beat for my own mental health. Like, I can't share these personal things because they get used against me all the time. And I don't like seeing these things that are so personal and make me vulnerable just picked apart, twisted, trivialized by other reaction channels. Like, I don't want to see that, you know?
Now, I hope that no one watching this thinks that I trivialize what Chantel goes through, because for me personally, I see this as quite serious. I see this as a, like, big red flags are going off consistently. The problem is, She doesn't want to hear it. She just doesn't want to hear it. So, not trivializing anything that's going on. I'm not pushing, and I'm not poking, and I'm not prodding. However, we're here to speak about the content that we see. So, if you need to take your health offline, take that advice. Just remember that you've already spoken about how your diet and your health are intrinsically linked. So, if you're going to do a mukbang, that's you bringing your health back online, in my opinion. Anyway.
I block everyone who doesn't agree with me. I block negative people.
No.
Because...
Did you see that?
I'm not interested in a discussion or a debate with regards to what I'm doing or my health. Like I said, it's triggering, and...
Then maybe you need to not put it online.
It makes me rethink of what I'm doing, like with my professionals, like with my therapist and stuff like that. It makes you feel like you know, like you're being scolded. And it's the exact opposite of what I'm trying to achieve.
The thing that I continue to have to remember is that she has been online for at least 4 years. 4 years. That's 4 years for you to have found a way to deal with people's differing opinions online. If you hadn't dealt with it before you made a YouTube channel, you can pretty much guarantee you'd need to address it over the last 4 years. It hasn't been addressed. It's never been addressed. And in my opinion, it honestly seems like there's a lot more buckling down into the vacuum. Is that what we're going to call it now? Echo chamber, vacuum, one of them. There's a lot more knuckling down on that and kind of finding the holes and patching that up real quick, because ultimately every time there's a disagreement, every time there's a conflict, it seems to result in this, which is interesting. As someone who perhaps not analyzes but criticizes and comments based on content and not necessarily personality.
I just don't think that it's it's not that people don't have to agree with me, but you know what? Like, save your comment and go somewhere else if you don't agree with me or whatever. Yeah, I left a message on Jen's thing because
yes, here we go.
That was my opinion. You know, that was my opinion, and I think that learning and intuitive eating is so against keto because
it's against calorie counting.
You know, for somebody because we're very similar. Like, we both have binge eating disorder.
Sure.
And for somebody with binge eating disorder, keto is not.
Don't know
really,
a lot of Jen's story. I'll preface
you
that.
know, it's not. It doesn't. I mean, it hasn't worked, right? Doesn't work. I don't think it's worked. It's not good to eliminate food groups and like eat tons of bacon and cheese and things and not healthy carbs or fruit. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, a couple of things here. First of all, what? What? The contradiction of, if your opinion disagrees with me, I don't want to hear it. Chantel, take your own advice, love. What makes you think anybody else wants to hear about your opinion if it disagrees with what they're saying? Which one is it? Which one is it? Good for thee, but not for ye, right? Is that? I think I butchered that one. What kind of contradiction? She didn't ask you, from my understanding of the whole comment debacle that kicked this off, she didn't ask for your opinion. She didn't ask for your opinion, so you are now just one of those individuals within the audience, much like many of us, who has left a comment with the intention that there is some form of discussion, some form of conversation, sharing of opinions and respecting other people's perspective, right? Doesn't happen often on Chantel's channel by the sounds of it. So what makes you think that you could do it to another individual if you hate it so much, right? What gave you, and again, cynically minded Zach was just like, oh, this was a ploy. This was a plan. This was a plan. They were both going to kind of stir some online drama, allegedly. This is just me throwing out, theories. I don't think that that's true now. However, an interesting thing to think about, right? So why would you comment? Oh, because I want to share the benefit of intuitive eating with people who I see suffering or not succeeding in their own diet. Okay, great. A couple of things. One, that's real culty. Here, let me tell you about the light and the truth that is intuitive eating. No, thank you. I'm fine. If it's worked for you, that's great, but I don't want to hear it, and that's okay. Actually, I do want to hear it because I want to. This is Zach talking now. I do want to hear it because I want to hear about your own experiences and your own perceptions and your own benefits. The way you've made beneficial changes and are winning and the goals that you set and achieve. I want to hear that as Zach. Now, can't speak on what Jen's perception of the whole thing is, but what the fuck? Ma'am, you've been on this diet for 3 weeks and there has been no evidence of any kind of it's working for me. Because nothing's changed. You're still mukbanging junk food. Yeah? She said earlier in this that I didn't really include that the intuitive eating is anti-scale for now. And there's a clip I kept in which we'll speak on later. But, so you don't know. How do you know it's working? And in intuitive eating, it keeps saying, well, you might put on weight to start off with, but eventually you'll get a handle on it. It's like, what constitutes a successful diet or lifestyle change in this arena? What does that look like? Because you can guarantee that even if I wasn't doing this and Chantel had said to me, by doing this I mean a reaction. If I wasn't making a reaction and Chantel said, intuitive eating works, don't do keto, don't calorie count, you can guarantee I'd be gobsmacked. Because what? Show me the results. Show me the results. For me, I can attest to, and this is back to the conversation about authority, I can attest to the success I have had, personally, calorie counting. Because was morbidly obese, now currently only overweight. So I have a level, said it before, I have a level of authority when I'm speaking about my own experiences and the ways that I have made things work. Chantel doesn't even have the authority to speak on her own experiences here because she'd been doing it for 3 weeks and she doesn't know whether or not there are any results. Maybe the result is in her perception of food, but she started off this entire live stream prefacing the entire situation with, it's not perfect, I'm still learning. So if you admit to still learning and you admit to not understanding everything about it, but it's a path, it's progress, which I agree with. As I said earlier, I agree that she doesn't know what she's doing and she's still learning. Cool, fine, I agree. So why would you then go and give unwanted and unauthorized, essentially, advice on someone else's diet? No. No, no, no.
Shouldn't have commented on or given my opinion on her diet, whatever. I just thought, as somebody who's pretty much got the same problem as her, and just,
Guys, in the comments below, please let me know if my earlier idea or thought, perception, however we want to say it, was correct, in that so many of the audience members who are vocal about Chantel can see elements of themselves in the content. Because I think, from speaking to a number of audience members, that it is probably more likely than not. More likely than not, we watch Chantel and see, oh, I've felt that before. Oh, I've done that before. Oh, I used to rely on feeling that way. I used to, or I do. I do have a similar relationship with food. I do suffer from, a diagnosed or undiagnosed ED. There are similarities, and that's what audiences often do in regards to slice of life content. It's not just about watching the influencers in their perfect lives. It's also about watching content creators who you can relate to. So, anyway,
I just think, just suggesting my opinion doesn't mean she has to follow it or whatever,
But other people aren't permitted to give their opinion. Good for me, but not for thee.
Yeah,
So-
I won't be watching her keto journey. So I don't watch. I don't stay and shame her for what she's doing. If that's what she wants to do, that's what she wants to do.
Not here to shame
I'm
anyone.
not going to watch it.
Here to talk
'Cause
about the
It's
content.
not something that I like watching. You know, I don't believe in the keto diet. And so...
Now, some of you may say on that comment, Zach, it doesn't seem like you like watching Chantel. And I do. I do like watching this content. And the reason why I like watching this content and speaking on this content is that it opens so many doors in regards to learning. It opens a lot of paths in regards to experiencing and understanding someone else's opinion and having discussions based on that. Seeing similar lived experiences or seeing similarities and in relation to the content. That's why I enjoy it. I don't particularly like it for Chantel's personality. I don't particularly like it for the mukbangs, which is a lot of the content. But everybody enjoys things for different reasons, right? There is the spectacle of it all, which I understand there are a large portion of people watch for that, and that's fine. There's obviously the relatability, as I discussed before. Audiences gravitate to relatable content. But for me, and I think for a group of people as well, because obviously, we like to understand why we're seeing what we're seeing. Understand what's going on from a content perspective. Understand the cause and effect and call out the shenanigans. That's what we're here for.
I didn't mean her to comment on her like as a judgmental thing, but maybe it came off that way, and
It was opinionated.
Yeah, you know, maybe I shouldn't have commented that, I guess. I just
It was
don't think that
opinionated and
eliminating
pinned.
food groups when you're trying to recover from binge eating disorder is very productive. I've tried it over and over and over and over.
Correct.
This time I'm trying something different. I'm hoping
Great.
that, you know, it's the one thing that just seems so much less stressful for me.
Show me the
But the thing
success.
with binge
I'd
eating
love
disorder is that
love to see some
intuitive eating
success.
combined with therapy, I think, is what's going to really help me, because
Yeah, probably.
finding other ways to cope
Maybe
with
not
anxiety
intuitive eating, but the therapy.
and just realizing that food is not going to be an appropriate medication.
Nope.
So
Don't self-medicate.
yeah, it's not only bacon, but it's you know, cutting back on a healthy food group. Like carbs are a healthy food group, and they play an important function in the diet. You know, like high fat is not really healthy either. Like super high fat.
Chantel, this is why it's so important when I sit here and say, I am not a dietitian, I am not a therapist, I am not a mental or physical healthcare professional. Everything I say is just my opinion and my experience, right? It's important to preface all of that because, again, I don't believe there's a large portion or probability that someone's new to this ecosystem and taking this advice as authorized advice. There might be. I mean, anything's possible. However, no. No. This is fine if this is your understanding of the way carbohydrates work, whatever. That's fine. I'm going to try and tone down the conversation about carbohydrates. For me, it is the macro that I overeat on easiest and the most. So in my diet, it's a higher protein, higher fat diet because it stops me from overeating. And sometimes Zach doesn't have the willpower to do it day on day on day on day on day. On day on day on day. Like a year. A year's worth of days. But let's agree to just not take any of this as anything other than somebody's opinion. And that's that.
Everyone has their own way, yeah, sure.
Sure. Everyone
But-
does.
You know, I just think that,
Dietitians and nutritionists and,
I don't know. I don't think she wanted my help at
healthcare
all.
professionals are really good at assisting with
And
that.
probably thinks, oh, you were doing mukbang, so...
Foodie
why did you
Beauty,
get the right to
probably
tell me
less
what to
so.
do? But I am still in therapy. I am still seeing, speaking with a dietitian. And like I said, you know, that the very first... It's
This
not...
was just kind of an
I think
update
most
on where the
people
health
would
is.
have more... They would probably applaud me more if I went to the diet doctor that I saw before and took his one-size-fits-all, cookie-cutter Speed diet.
How is intuitive eating not cookie cutter? It's not. Intuitive eating is not restrictive. That's what it is, I think, from my opinion and my understanding of it, which is not a learned understanding. It is just what I've been shown, right? There are no restrictions. Do whatever the fuck you want. But, listen to your body, but do whatever the fuck you want. Now, yes, I would be a bigger fan if she had gone on that restrictive diet. I get that it may not have worked for her and the emotional, mental connection that she has with food. But perhaps with both therapy and a diet doctor's assistance, imagine where we could be now. Imagine where. But, sure. Again, it calls into question the duty of care that this therapist and dietitian have. Because, if the liver goes into cirrhosis, that's a pretty big deal. But, and, if the pancreas just kicks the bucket, that's kind of a big deal too. I don't know. And this is why we have conversations on these things, right? Because it's, ultimately it's pretty grim. It's pretty grim. So, but we can eat Tim Hortons for 24 hours, so.
I'd like to know what I need to be jealous of. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Of any of these reaction channel people. Any of them. Any of that motley crew. What's there to be jealous of? So the pretty...
Look, I'm not here to say that she is or isn't jealous, right? I think that if she were, prefacing all of this with words, allegedly, is apparently, is all my opinion, right? If she were to be jealous of anything, it may be that she doesn't seem very happy. And I can only really speak on me and my story and what's going on this side of the camera. I'm happy. I choose to find joy. And I choose to be happy every day. I'm not saying I don't get sad. I understand that is an emotion. But every day I get up and set myself a goal and work to achieve that goal. And that is giving me happiness. I just don't see a lot of happiness in this at all.
They're getting picked up, I know.
Kept that in box Citadel.
You can say, hi, Lauren. You can call her a bad person all you want for a lie or whatever you think she's a bad person for. But she's at least never called anyone a sodium-filled whale. But you support that, right?
So I kept this in. There was a long diatribe about her pro-Amber thoughts. I cut most of it because I'm not really interested in Amber's content in relation to Foodie Beauty's content. If there's a crossover, who knows? But as the two separate channels, there are similarities obviously between them. We do mention one and the other in general conversation, but critically minded Zach is more interested in unpacking everything that's going on with what I'm watching. In regards to this sodium-filled whale comment, right? It lives on. It was an insult. For me personally, do I consider it rude? Yeah. But to hang on to that for so long, I say that without any level of authority as to when the comment was made, right? But it's been spoken about multiple times in the last, Amber's live, she mentioned it, which I reacted to, and this live, it has been spoken about, which I'm also reacting to. So it just seems like hanging on to the insult as a shield, right? As an adult, I'm not insulted all that often. However, when I have been insulted in the past, and even back when I was an angrier individual, being insulted, I was pretty quick to clap back, but it wasn't in a way that would prolong my discomfort at that insult, right? That's what it was. It was me saying, you don't get to say that, or say what you want, shut the fuck up. Or not even, like, we're taught, at least for me in my youth, we were taught that, you know, we don't have to take people's shit. We don't have to take people's insult. And we can choose to walk away. And if it continues, then we can choose to directly nip the problem in the bud, right? But to hang on to something for so long, in a way that isn't even, like, I mean, I think that in the future, I'm sure I will have callbacks to things that people have said, but they don't affect me in that way. I don't carry them with me. I don't carry them with me because I've, again, speaking about my past, I've directly addressed it then and there, called it out for the shit that it is, and then move on. So if someone's going to shit talk me, and I know that it's happening, I'm able to address that directly like an adult and say, what you said was rude. You can stop. You can stop. We're done. We're done here. Wipe your hands, walk away. But understandably, we all handle insults differently. Some of us are insulted by other people's opinions on topics that aren't even us. But yeah.
Diamond form. People are so entitled. It's a sense of entitlement. Like, we don't owe you anything. And even if we're public, we're not here, we don't exist to educate you or to address you.
I kept that one in because, again, I utilized the content as a talking point, as an example of something that I don't want to necessarily happen to my life. So this comment I kind of agree on, in that, like, people's lived experiences are not purely there for you to take a lesson out of, because I believe that perception is slightly different. It's not about learning a lesson. It's about the empathy for me. It's about trying to understand someone's perspective and trying to learn from that perspective, not necessarily, you know, an unfortunate circumstance. Understand that they are human, and here we are, Chantel is human. And trying to understand what they're doing, why they do the things that they do. Right?
Actually, President Davey, I think you need to educate yourself. First on spelling the word meant, and second on actually it's treated to cure eating disorder, binge eating disorder. So, because diet cycling and eliminating and restriction are what causes eating disorder, binge eating disorder. So, intuitive eating helps you change your relationship with food and trust yourself again with food. So, okay, thank you.
That all may be well and good. I'm not that deep into the psychology of it all. Not a trained healthcare professional. But sure. It is back to the argument of not everything works for everybody. So for me, I don't understand how this works, and I couldn't see it working for me. Do I see it working for Chantel? Who knows? I can hope it does. Sure. But ultimately, we're on a timeline here, folks. Like, the organs aren't happy. So, you know, when we do a 24-hour Tim Horton mukbang with me, whatever the hell this is, when we do things like that, you're not showing the audience, like, positivity, I guess. You're really showing the audience negativity in the, you know, this is negatively affecting my health. Because, back to the conversation, diet and health linked.
Are you a nutritionist? I don't want to hear anything from anybody.
In general. Close the chat.
And I'm not making this shit up. You can Google it yourself or go see a specialist. You know?
I'm interested in speaking to
I know, don't you just love when people tell you what's working for you? Exactly.
Just about the perception of it all. Like, show them a clip.
Restricting is not the same thing as fasting. Although fasting is not recommended for people recovering from binge eating disorder, especially not right away. You know?
This was pedantic, Zach, keeping this clip in. Because, like, let's reassess how we use the term restrict, because we can restrict all sorts of things that aren't just food. And in relation to fasting, which I intermittent fast as much as I can, except when I get distracted and realize that I do need something in my stomach, which happens on live streams. For me, I restrict the times of day that I permit myself to eat. I do, because it helps me manage my hunger. If I start eating early in the morning, you can guarantee I'll eat all day. And again, it's about willpower. It's about growing and training your willpower, because willpower is a thing that you need to practice. Again, you need to learn it, much like learning intuitive eating. You need to learn and grow willpower like you would any muscle, or develop any habit. So, yeah, I consider what I do in intermittent fasting restricting when I eat. I can eat whenever I want, but I put restrictions in as a guideline. As like, it's almost like guard posts on a road, right? The restrictions are there to get me to my goal. Now, do I lift those restrictions sometimes? Yes. But the narrative of the last few weeks about demonizing the term restriction just gets me so much, because it's not always in relation to food. Not everything is.
Oh, how are you going to go from like eating 4,000 or 5,000 calories of binging a day and then just to like 1,200 calories of like, it's not realistic.
This is particularly interesting as well, because with the Tim Hortons, I will be interested to see what the calorie count in this is. Again, maybe me being pedantic about the language being used here, but if you say 3, 4, 5,000 calories in a day as a binge, I'll be interested to see just how high a caloric intake this day was, and see whether or not this qualifies as the definition of a binge. Do you see what? This is what happens when you tell an audience they can't have opinions. They get really critical about everything that they see. And I feel like that does myself a service, trying to understand the ridiculous story that is the last 4 years of Foodie Beauty content. What makes a binge?
They're going to be removed next week, I think. February. I have it written down.
The boxes.
They're coming on. Depends how much it's going to cost. I need
Also,
to find out
the cats. Guys, the cat's on the counter, always. But the cat's eating off the counter? My God. Have some respect for that animal and put a bowl down. Tongue to bench. We know booty to bench is a thing, but now it's confirmed, tongue to bench. Also, the boxes are getting picked up some point in January. No, February.
Fuck that, I don't know, buckle down or something, but if it's only like $200, then...
But she doesn't know how much it's going to cost.
I don't know, it depends, Eli. I've spent a lot on takeout. I added it up once, it was like probably $1,000 a month on takeout.
I would say
on a really
more.
Bad month, but not doing that.
Just based on the mukbangs. But then again, like, Australia has like a lot of tax involved with a lot of stuff, so maybe things are cheaper in Canada. Feel free to let me know down below what our realistic assumption would be. Maybe let's take January just in consideration, because we're almost at the end there. If we count, someone's going to do this. Maybe not in my comment section, but someone has done this. After this particularly. Take just the content we see over the last month, and do the math. Because $1,000 seems maybe a bit low. Especially when even if you consider like just the HelloFresh that's been happening recently. Yeah, curious.
Decaf hot dogs, yum. Are they the steamed ones? It's crazy, eh, Brenda, when you actually add it up. But if you budget it and work it into your budget, it's a bit different. You don't feel as guilty, So that's what I'm trying to do.
I buy a lot of Whole Foods.
Keep track of
not a lot of takeout,
my budget with regards to food, especially having like more food on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought that chalkboard. Thanks, Mike.
More food on the channel.
To kind of like make it like Foodie Beauty's kitchen with like write your meals on it and stuff. Oh, really, Thrifty Meg?
Okay.
Joe. not having venison.
Also, I do see that plate back there with the with the food on it. I just no. Just no. Because all through this live stream, all I could see was the cat food on the bench. And it's like, just put it in a bowl. Put it in a bowl so they can't drag it out, or put it on the ground. Even better idea. For me.
$60 a month on takeout, yeah. So
$60 a month on takeout.
That's what I'm gonna do. Just budget it out.
Okay.
Kebabs. I like spicy food.
I like spicy food.
Venison is delicious.
Venison is delicious.
I do Death Valley. I claim everything that's in my videos. I just claim as an expense. Like, you know, I do food videos, so groceries and foods that are in my videos, I claim it. Like, whenever Pizza and I went to Baton Rouge, and it was like $200 dinner thing, like, I just claim, I think I can claim part of it. Like, I claim it as, that's my job. Like, you know, I do videos for you guys, so whatever content, whatever things I buy for my videos are kind of props or whatever, you know? Like, my costumes for the time warps and stuff like that.
Yeah, props and stuff.
Now, groceries in general, like just little things that I don't eat on camera, I try to I don't claim it on taxes. But I have an accountant, so yeah, self-employed taxes, it's kind of weird, but one of these things.
Oh, we're now eating. I kept all of that in because I know some people are like monetarily minded. I am not so much. This will obviously, it's the first year on YouTube, so that'll be a different experience for me as well. I'll let you all know in like after financial year how that goes, I guess. Not necessarily about the money because we don't talk about that a lot, but just my experience with like the Australian tax system, because that's a different thing. I know that the government will want to take like 35% as income. We have a high tax rate here in Australia. We're now up to the blood oxygen meter.
Heart rate monitor. So you put your finger.
Mm-hmm. 90 BPM.
That can't be right.
Sitting. 97.
Wait. 97 oxygen and 93 heart.
My apologies. I don't know anything about blood oxygen, so I don't know. Heart rate, however, 94 sitting seems a little elevated, in my opinion. On the stream, I was testing mine on my watch, which is not like the greatest measurer. Wow. My BPM was not 90.
Oxygen, 97, 92. Yeah, they're good to have.
Okay. Kept this in for
Got
posterity.
it on Amazon. It's boxes somewhere in there. It's for my grandmother to keep her oxygen monitored, and sometimes for me too. Like if I'm really having trouble breathing, I need my pump. I haven't had it in like 2 days. I need to get the prescription filled, and I'm more wheezy.
Asthma pump? Let me know. I think maybe because the CPAP doesn't have a pump, does it?
Thrifty.
No, I don't think so.
I'm very happy. I do. No, it doesn't taste right.
I don't think it's very happy. My opinion.
Oops. There's no bag! Oxygen saturation for somebody normally healthy should be like 100 or 99. Nothing below 95. Anything below 95, I would see a doctor. Depends on your age too.
This is a health flex.
But
she got a 97,
mine,
guys.
96, 97 because I have lung issues is okay.
Okay. Not a doctor. Don't know.
I love these.
I do enjoy these clips.
I personally don't believe in that, like, time to eat things. Do you guys?
I believe in times to eat in regards to structure. For the most part, I do try to practice specific times of eating around midday. That is my first meal of the day. That is my lunch. And then mid-afternoon, sometimes usually like 4:35, have a couple of eggs, have something to just kind of get me by. And then dinner around 7:30. Introducing structure into my life helped me with my diet. I think structure is a really good thing. And, you know, implementing structure in any way, not just diet, I see as beneficial. It's like if you put in the structure and repetition of skating a couple of times a week, of going to work at particular times, you know, restricting the amount of times you do activities that may not be productive. You know, all of that.
I don't know. The chair's always in the
Chantel does not believe in that.
Having all your reproductive organs removed is like
traumatic.
It probably does do something, you know, even if it's repressed. But
unaddressed. Yeah. Traumatic.
So maybe that's why I had the dream. I don't know.
Oh, she had a dream about getting pregnant and...
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, like, if you're really, really hungry before you go to bed, just eat something.
The birds are
even something healthy, even something small.
Not that anyone would who's watching one of my videos, but please do not take health advice from Chantel. Please do not. Cautionary tale, yes. Advice, not so much. In regards to eating just before bed, I don't anymore. Usually I'm in bed about 3 hours after my last meal, which tends to be working. But also this is more in relation to like also removing food from my bedroom. That was a big thing for me that benefited that helped the way kind of I viewed food, and it was a healthy restriction. It was me saying, okay, I'm going to take a small step here and say, when I eat, I'm going to put it on a plate, I'm going to use cutlery, and I'm going to sit at my desk or at my table and not lay in bed and pick things up with my fingers and all the food's gone in 5 minutes. And I still catch myself kind of going back to those things, but realizing that like if I'm more mindful, I will basically enjoy eating a lot more. Not that there's a lot of joy in it for me, but I will benefit from being mindful more if I'm doing it with cutlery and crockery and a nice setup. And I kind of feel like I treat myself instead of eating with my fingers.
Yeah.
Or spoons. Spoons are necessary, of course, but if you can eat with a knife and fork, helps with mindfulness, I find.
I'm not starting a feud with anybody online, that's for sure.
Oh, but you did.
No time for that.
Nope, but you did.
Popular girls will be nice to her face and then stab Jen in the back. I don't know. All of YouTube is like one big high school drama bullshit. I mean, I understand, like...
I don't think that's
true. If she
true.
came over to my channel and tried to tell me how to lose weight, I would be like, bitch, seriously? But, at the same time, you know,
that's
I was just trying to be like...
No.
You know?
You've just said keto didn't work for you for 5 years, Jen.
I wasn't even fucking nasty to her. She obviously is like, has misplaced hate. What is it now?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I can't imagine, in all of the opinions that have been shared and aimed at Foodie Beauty, I can't imagine that all of them have been nasty, using her word. I can't imagine. We have all seen people gingerly trying to approach a topic or broach a subject, you know, walking on eggshells, trying to be nice about the whole thing. That, I believe, is the common voice in the opinion, like, interaction. But who boy, to sit here and say, well, what I said wasn't nasty. It's like, Chantel, what other people say is also not nasty. But you've got this strange view that really just can't handle criticism, ultimately, I think. And in the past, I've been similar. Like, I've spoken about angry Zach in the past. I used to get mad when people disagreed with me. Even when they had the absolute right of way and authority, I would get mad. I would get angry. I would get pissed off. You disagree with me? Well, I'll tell you why you're wrong, and then they'd prove me wrong. But I changed my mindset. Respecting other people's opinions is so much more beneficial, even if they are wrong, right? just understanding that someone can have a different opinion from you, and make an effort to understand it. You don't have to agree with everybody's opinions. Not at all what I'm saying. But if you understand where it comes from, sometimes you can end up learning a lot more. So anyway, nastiness.
What's her channel name?
Talking about Life by Jen.
Walmart Keto Grocery Haul.
The eye roll.
I don't usually rant
I used
about
to roll my eyes a lot. So much so it
YouTubers,
hurt.
except for a select few times, but this is justified. I posted a comment on Foodie Beauty's latest video, Wendy's mukbang, that she didn't approve. I haven't been in my comments in forever. I get deleting comments. I've done it. I bet you it's in my inbox right now. Her comment. I'm looking for it.
We'll talk about it.
I don't see it. Maybe you should ask me about it before you just go off.
Sis, you gave her unwanted advice.
Like, she wants reaction channels to grab this and have comment for... I get deleting comments. I've done it thousands of times. What I don't get is feeling that you can leave whatever kind of comment you want given unsolicited diet advice. Proceed to post hundreds of fast food binge mukbangs, then delete a comment questioning their own eating behavior. Number one, you are binging off camera, okay? You are binging and lying about it. I'm being honest, okay? What I eat on camera is not a binge. If you have a binge eating disorder, you should know that. All I said was that keto is not recommended for the eating disorder recovery, which maybe you should listen to because keto has not worked for you over and over and over again. Okay? So I'm just trying to be helpful with what I'm trying. I wasn't being mean, but obviously you have a problem.
Why though? Why are you trying to be helpful?
I didn't delete your comment. I didn't even see it. So you're just basically leaving me a comment just because I left you a comment. Obviously, I'm not an eating disorder specialist, but I'm pretty sure common sense can tell you that eating Wendy's is not intuitive eating. No, you don't know anything about intuitive eating, obviously, so my stream tonight, you should rewatch it. And eating disorder recovery is not restricting over and over doing keto and going and buying like however many bags of cheese, but not eating fruit. Okay? So, you know, never saying I'm never going to eat Wendy's again is restriction, and that's not realistic. I'm not pointing this out because I think my diet is perfect or right for her to shame her, but when you decide to hand out advice, make sure that you have some clue about what you're speaking about. What I said, in a nice way, was that keto is not recommended for people with binge eating disorders. Coming from my therapist and dietitian who are professionals. I was just trying to help. But obviously, there's no point. And don't talk about me deleting and blocking people. You do that too. And yeah, I am going to do it. I didn't block your comment. I didn't see it. If you have something to say, say it and allow the person to respond. Don't act entitled or better than them or go ahead. What the fuck is your problem? I just popped over to see what you were eating to get some pointers since you think restricting causes binges. What caused this binge? Were you restricting? No, that's why I didn't binge. I haven't binged in a while, Jen, unlike you. It just amazes me that someone whose channel is packed full of junk and fast food binges, again, they're not binges. I'm pretty sure you know that a binge is a lot more than a meal from Wendy's, okay? One baked potato, a burger, and another small burger. Give me a break. I'd like to see what your actual binges are. So, what, like, what the fuck? Okay, Jen, whatever. Keep your delusions. Good luck with your keto. Good luck.
Well, I think there's a feud a-brewing. That was a lot. I can't really unpack a lot about it. As an individual who has not seen a lot of Jen's content and doesn't really know or understand the Jen story, speaking as someone who has seen a bit of Foodie Beauty's content, this reaction from Foodie is not unexpected. I do appreciate the concise manner of the response from Jen, because it was basically, your opinion was unwarranted and unwanted. Who are you to give any form of diet advice? And it was concise. It was clean. It's concise and clean. And basically saying you can step off, because she also brought up blocking, deleting comments, all of that stuff. Now, it is interesting, and we will get into it further into this clip show, in regards to wouldn't it be eye-opening to see what the blocked phrases are on Foodie's channel? I say that because there are specific instances of comments just never making it, right? It seems, allegedly, from my understanding, again, just reacting to the content that is produced, it seems as if perhaps everything is restricted. Oh, sorry, everything is moderated. That's a better word. Everything is moderated and everything is screened before anything goes up. Now, I'm sure we've seen instances of that not happening in the past, but it is just a curious thing to consider. Now, from here on out, if you've reached this point in the video, thank you so much for joining. From here on out, it goes to a darker tone. It goes to a different place. So strap in and enjoy.
She doesn't make any sense at all.
She made very
I wasn't giving her diet
sense,
advice.
Yes, you were.
But whatever, go on.
You literally told her keto wouldn't work. So
she's overreacting a bit and coming over being sassy like that. Like, fuck you all the way. Fuck you, Jen.
I appreciated it. It was concise. It was direct.
I haven't gained any weight.
Some
Have you? Yeah, and I'm not trying to shame her. Maybe that is a bit shaming, but like, I'm pissed.
That's fat shaming.
She's so full of shit. Like, keep trying the keto that you haven't succeeded at. How many times? You know, like, me eating fast food is preventing me from binging. You know, saying, oh, I'm going to go completely on keto and everything else. Like, that's unrealistic and bullshit.
Okay.
So.
Work.
Anyways,
Do you.
Whatever.
She's not pressed, though.
Yeah, she's obviously watching. Obviously watching my channel, just waiting. She was just waiting for that. Of all.
The conspiracy.
This is her, like, this is how she works. Of all the hateful comments she gets on her channel. She decides to be bitchy about mine and defend reaction channels who talk shit about her. You have no self-worth at all. You must think so fucking shitty of yourself to allow them to just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't delete Robin's channel. That's how you feel about yourself because you kissed their ass. You know? Like, honestly, I unsubscribed from you. I left that comment and I unsubscribed from you because I'm sick of watching your crappy keto videos. Okay? Thank you.
The rage. Can't you? It's radiating off the screen for me, guys. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? Just the anger. The anger that I, as an audience member, am seeing and understanding. Because the thing is, the argument, just to begin with here, is that why did you leave a comment, or why did you respond to my comment, or why did you leave a comment on my video, whatever, when you could have just said it to me in private. Chantel, you started it. You left your unwarranted advice. We all know how you feel about unwarranted advice, so why did you think Jen would take it any other way? Particularly because Miss Chantel Marie, Miss Foodie Beauty, loves to talk about how the reaction channels are all obese and overweight and they're all failing in their weight loss. They're all amoebas and they're single-celled and they have one brain cell and they're all unsuccessful and all unmiserable. They're all miserable with their lives, you know? So it is interesting because I don't see a lot of joy here. I see some rage. Misery. I see a bit of misery. And ultimately, hypocrisy and contradictions. Because if you would have appreciated someone to bring their comment to you privately, and that seems to be the truth universal, is that comments and opinions that disagree, we can't have those, then why did you think it was a good idea to publicly comment? Like, you could have just reached out. You could have just sent a message. Been like, hey Jen, I heard you're trying keto again. I don't think that's going to work for you. I'm trying this thing. See how easy that is? See how, like, just simple that could have been? But instead, Chantel decided to act all kinds of foolish and say, what you're doing isn't going to work for you. You need carbohydrates in your diet. Let me give you some diet advice. And it is interesting in that rant that it is, well, this is the opinion of my dietitian and my therapist. Girl, is it? Okay. Cool. Work. That might be the opinion. But we'll see what works first, I guess. We'll see whether or not there's any benefit to your intuitive eating or whether or not your pancreas is just going to stop functioning. You know, and hopefully it's not the liver, because that would suck. But, you know, that's all about timelines, right? How I would be interested to see what the average turnaround time for the benefits of intuitive eating to kick in is. Because I can tell you, eating 24 hours of Tim Hortons, sorry, I've got it on my other screen, you know, probably not healthy for severe non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I don't know. We don't have Tim Hortons down here. I don't know what the menu looks like. It looks very beige from the thumbnail, but I digress. We will continue.
Making fun of my one Wendy's meal, but you have like 6 bags of cheese and think that chaffles are gonna like help you. Okay, whatever.
Mad at a chaffle.
Anyways,
I'm not mad at a
okay,
chaffle.
never leave unsolicited advice, even though I was trying to help her and I wasn't rude at all. But whatever. All right, let's just block everybody.
How? Just cognitive
She is fake. She's
dissonance.
very, 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 very fake. And she's probably trying to hop on the, I'm going to get the haters on my side if I go against her. You know? Like, I'm sorry, but do not fucking judge me for my fast food when you are way heavier than me and obviously binging heavily off camera. Just don't even go there. Just don't even go there.
Is this, like, hater... I'm not referring to reaction channels. Is this hater mentality from Chantel aimed at another individual? Well, you're clearly binging behind the scenes. Why don't you go open that 5th bag of cheese? Like, you know? And to be so ignorant to your own plight, your own troubles with audience perception and opinion and all of that. The way that you can't see how someone else could similarly not handle that kind of opinion conversation well. Don't get me wrong, I think Jen handled the interaction in regards to the comment well. Again, don't know a lot about Jen. And ultimately, as a reactor, not taking any sides, just standing back. But if I were, I don't know, making comment or judging the action replay, you know, I think that in this interaction, Jen has come off better. Because I don't know if Jen went live and decided to do all of this. But it's Chantel that I'm watching. So there's that.
I'll talk about what I want to. I'm also sick of people telling me what to talk about. Like, if I want to vent, I'm going to fucking vent.
Sure. That's pretty much
Maybe
the
I
rest
feel like
of
taking
this.
the high road. Maybe I want to vent.
The high road and on track are both.
Jen, you're full of shit. You're mad at me of all people. Somebody who goes through the same thing as you. You know? And you're so anti-mukbang, but you pretend you did a mukbang and you pretended to eat a dainty little salad. Just eat the fucking Wendy's. Or else you're just going to binge on it anyways. You may as well just eat what you want. Seriously. Oh, it pisses me off. People who are fucking fake. Ugh, I'm better than you because I wouldn't eat on camera. So when I turn the camera off and I pretend I'm on the keto diet and binge, I'm better than you. That's your attitude. And that's what every fucking hater, obese reaction channel's attitude is. That's what they do.
Only overweight, not obese.
Oh my god, Amberlynn, $50. Yes. I love you, Amberlynn. I hope you listen to my stream. I was riding hard for you.
The pot has been stirred, and the pot continues to be stirred. Amber gave some super chats.
Pisses me off. And I just said I wouldn't read it and I didn't care. Yes, I can't sleep at night, Mahar.
Yeah,
Jen's a hater now. Add Jen to the hater nation. That's exactly what she sounds like. Whatever.
I said this while I was doing the clip show yesterday, that again, not knowing Jen or anything about her story, I'm obviously aware of the reactionary landscape in regards to her content, but not that deep in it, right? I think, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be the ultimate shade of it all for Jen to wake up every single day and want to do better just out of spite? I mean, and we've spoken recently about my perception of hate viewing and not enjoying that that phrase necessarily. And I'm trying to spin it into it's the spectacle of it all, right? But I and other content creators sit here and say, we have been inspired by this content to live better lives. This isn't a conversation about me thinking I'm inherently better than anyone else. No, not at all. I know I think I'm happier than the content that I'm reacting to. But the phrase better it should be retired in regards to comparing individuals, right? I think it's about skill and it's about talent. It's not about everything that makes a human being a human being. But yes, I truly hope that Jen takes this as a form of motivation to live a really good life every day, to make changes, to set goals, to achieve things, because I would. If someone had this kind of reaction to something I had done, I would be like, you're a mess. And your content shows that. Not even as a personal thing, just what we see on the channel. Mess. So let me be over here and tidy my own life up, and I'll catch you in 6 months to a year when I can celebrate my success. It would be interesting to see, you know?
I'm like actually really
mad.
Friggin' surprised right now. Like I'm actually shocked.
Surprised. Mad.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry I left you that comment.
She's not sorry.
God damn. I really struck a nerve.
The nerve has been struck.
I don't like unsolicited advice either. Diet advice.
Clarity.
But, I really wasn't being mean at all, you know? Yeah, I know, Ella. So there you go. I guess I was wrong for leaving her a comment. But her answer is just like, seriously? You know? She has no backbone at all. Like, I don't get it. Like, it makes me disgusted when I hear her everyone has a right to their opinion, no matter what it is. No, not no matter what it is. People don't have a right to bully other people. I'm sorry that you think very low of yourself, that you can't even show your body in your videos. Like, that pisses me off too.
Okay, there was a lot to catch there. But do you see what I mean about someone has a differing opinion, that must mean they hate me or they're bullying me? No, that's not how it works. That's not how that works. We can have a disagreement, we can have a differing of an opinion. Just because someone disagrees with me doesn't mean that they're bullying me. At all. Like, what the that gets me. Because I don't understand how you could think that's how that works. But, again, back to the echo chamber conversation. Like, surrounding yourself with only positive vibes from your loyal supporters would certainly get you to start thinking, I think, not a psychologist, but I could see the logical steps of I'm surrounded by yes men, I'm surrounded by opinions that line up with what I agree with. As soon as I run into an opinion that doesn't line up with what I think, I'm being attacked. You know? So, and as for the comment about Jen not having a spine, bullshit. Absolutely she does. Because a spineless individual wouldn't have responded to that direct comment. They wouldn't have stood up for themselves and said, you don't know what you're talking about. Because she's not, from my understanding of that comment, she's not taking that advice and information from a point of authority. She's calling out the shenanigans. She's saying, I think you're wrong. I think you need to reevaluate what you're doing with your life. Come at me when you can, like, talk about it from a place of experience or authorization. And I think that takes backbone. She could have just not said anything in response. She could have just, you know, quietly raged at home or turned her camera on and decided to surround herself with her true supporters and rage for 4 hours. But I think it takes backbone not to do that.
You know, like, why not? Who cares? You're overweight. I mean, honestly, like, who cares? You're not ugly because you're fat. You're not ugly, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. It just pisses me off.
Yes, she's
No,
mad.
I don't want people to go attack her.
No, absolutely not.
Nathan, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Who's eating themselves into a grave? I haven't gained a fucking pound, okay? I haven't gained anything. So shut up and mind your business. Just because I eat Wendy's doesn't mean I'm eating myself into a grave. Was I eating myself into a grave before? Yeah. Probably. I mean, you know.
We don't know. There were two things there. First of all, I could never have someone pop up in chat and say anything and just get this mad about it. Right? I could never. If someone was like spewing hate, vitriol, you know, all of that shit, absolutely I'd call it out, address it, deal with it. But like, it's an opinion based on evidence, right? It's an opinion based on evidence, and the evidence is the content. It's what it is. The other thing I wanted to mention here is that, sure, allegedly you haven't gained a effing pound. Look at me, keeping an eye on my swear jar. You haven't gained a pound, but intuitive eating has given you an excuse not to weigh yourself. So first of all, you don't know. And second of all, you gaining or losing weight is not inherently a primary indicator of good or bad health, right? In regards to obesity and the comorbidities that go along with that, absolutely it is, yes. You gaining 10 pounds, does that make you automatically unhealthier? At the levels that we're discussing in regards to morbid obesity, I'd probably say yeah. Not a doctor, not a healthcare professional, but even if you just take it from the basic understanding of, what is it, every pound that you put on is 4 more pounds of pressure on your knees. So just thinking about your joint health, right? Just thinking about pain, thinking about the pressure that's going on your lungs when you're heavier, you know. So although the number on the scale is not a determining factor in regards to overall and total health, weight gain, when we're talking about categories within morbid obesity, does it make you categorically less healthy or likely to be less healthy? It depends on your definition and what you're actually focusing on. But if we focus on general health, there's an argument, I think, to say yes. Now, does that mean that someone can gain a kilo and automatically be referred to as unhealthy? No, because that's dealing with binary definitions, which I don't necessarily agree with. But yeah, anyway.
Life, worry about your own friggin' death or life or whatever. You know, like, you can't tell people, are you God? You know when people are gonna die? Hi, Angie. That's the bullshit I'm talking about. Yeah. Fat people can't eat Wendy's. Nobody can eat Wendy's. You're gonna die. Ugh. You know, ignoring that the other healthy habits you're taking on. Get a life.
Yeah. Healthy habits don't negate unhealthy habits. Just my basic understanding.
Yeah, anyways.
So anyways.
Thrifty Meg. Thank you, Thrifty Meg. I think if I didn't go on tangents, I would eventually explode.
Therapy.
I just get sick of seeing the same stupid comments over and over and over and over and over again.
It's like there's a common perception that's going on. But they can't be right.
Yeah. Chipanda. Exactly. How many people eat unhealthy things? Give me a break. You're telling me every single person that criticized me eats super friggin' healthy every day? Give me a break and be quiet and worry about your own diet. Seriously.
No. Some of us have other things to talk about than just the food, right?
She took the screenshot to be dramatic about it. What do you want, ass pats? Go Hater Nation. Go pat Jen on the back.
Again, I think Jen's got a spine.
Go pat her on the back for that.
I'd call out the shenanigans. I do. Hey.
Anyways.
So anyway.
I'm sorry that you feel that as a fat person you have to justify yourself over and over and do a weight loss journey, but I'm done with that, especially for now. That's for sure. But
so no one should expect a weight loss journey moving forward. Just mukbangs.
I sound insane. I think I sound pretty clear-headed, Destiny. But why don't you get out of here if you're so bothered? Goodbye. Nobody cares bothered. What you think. Nobody cares. Maybe I am insane. You know why? Because you people are making me insane. People like you, Destiny.
I don't like this line of conversation.
I don't need to leave this up for the reactors. They've already got it. They're already recording it. They probably have the notification bell. They hear the ding. They're in the middle of sleeping and dreaming about friggin', I don't know who they're dreaming about, Ted Bundy. And they get up and they record my video and then they try to use it against me, but I don't really care. I have held for review. I have so many comments held for review.
Get out of there, girl. Just for the sake of your own mental health, if you're a YouTube content creator, the held for review section, not a great place if you're wanting to care for your mental health. Not a great place to go into. Now, there are many, many algorithms that control the comments, right? And if you're a content creator who expects very large paragraphs, expects or asks for things like links in your comments, then you may be more inclined to check your held for review or held for spam, whatever. However, there are also elements to the algorithm that will basically hold for review hate speech, aggression, all kinds like that. And you can add filters into it. You can say, I want to hold this word for review, like hungry, or you could hold this, this word for review, It just depends on your channel and how automated you want that process to be to ensure that the comment section reflects what you want. Like Foodie.
Where are the healthier choices that you said you were going to be making? When did I say that?
This was the one that got me, right? Where are the healthier choices that you said you'd be making? That comment was held for review. Why? Theories, right? Where's the healthy content that you said you'd be making? So what word is held, right? I personally think this is a theory in just my opinion. I think that the word health or healthy has been held for review. This may have been manually moved over into review by a moderator. I don't know. My sneaking suspicion is that health or healthy is a term that is held for review on the channel. And isn't that interesting? Or wouldn't that be interesting if true? Because I can't think what other phrase in that sentence or question would cause it to be held for review. Maybe everything's held for review. And it just gets trickled in. And who does the trickling? Foodie and moderators? Echo chamber? Maybe. Or maybe, in a non-cynical mind, maybe it's question marks that are held for review. Because no one's going to be answering any questions. Or no one wants to be questioned. I don't know. These are all wonderful theories. Let me know what you think.
When did I say any type of food? I'm pretty sure I said over and over that I'm not restricting any types of food. As I've been told, the first step is unconditional permission to eat, right? So, what's next after the unrestricted?
You have to respect your body as well.
You just learn to... You have to... It's easier said than done because I still am not past that phase yet. I still mentally restrict myself. No, intuitive eating is actually not new at all. The book's been out a long time.
Okay.
So, like I said, research. demonize carbs in the diet culture society we live in. But whenever you get weight loss surgery, you really don't have room for carbs. You don't have room for high bulky food. It can actually make you physically sick.
Okay. We're going to speak on intuitive eating and its history because I have done some research by using Daddy G. And I've done this previously because, again, I don't understand how it's meant to work. From my understanding, intuitive eating has been mentioned in articles dating back to the 80s. I can't give you any specific examples, but it has been prefaced as a thought, right? Whether or not it's been proven to work, whether or not it's been developed for some nefarious reason, we don't know. I don't know. I'm not looking that deep. All I know is it has been mentioned in scholarly articles before the 90s, some point in the 80s. Now, in terms of the popularization of the phrase intuitive eating, it was championed as a lifestyle in the 90s, specifically referring to this ridiculous book that is in conversation. I only call it ridiculous because I haven't read it and I don't understand the point. Which was published in 1995, I believe. Could be 1993? 1995. So, yeah, I mean, the theory of intuitive eating has been around for a long time, I guess, if you're referencing just the way humans have always eaten, like the way the biology of eating works, intuitively putting the food in the mouth, that has been around. But this practice of intuitive eating and the psychology behind it seems relatively new in the grand scheme of things, right? 25 years this book's been published for? You'd think there'd be more studies on the success of intuitive eating if it was the magical pill that it's talked up to be. But anyway, we're on to demonizing carbs.
The actual operation, the bypass operation. Oh. And you need a lot of protein and you need to be on vitamins forever because you can't absorb nutrients. That's what bypass means.
Is it?
You know, you're not absorbing nutrients, but you're also not absorbing calories, and that's where you lose weight too, right?
Is it? Also, in regards to this demonizing carbohydrates, wrong. I'm sorry. In the modern, discussion about dieting, yes, keto's become popular. Yes, everybody's kind of reevaluating carbohydrates in the diet, right? Not a dietitian or nutritionist. It works for me, right? It's not going to work for everyone, but it works for me. And that has something to do with the overeating of it all. However, can we rewind to the 90s and 80s where fat was demonized? Fat's been demonized for a solid 50 years. There's a lot of discussion about cholesterol that goes along with that. There's a lot of discussion about trans fats and saturated fats that goes along with that. As opposed to the healthy, plant-based fats, healthy animal fats, those things are things that we reference now because we have had to change our perception of what fats are, right? So get out of here with trying to tell me about carbohydrates, Chantel. I can't.
Part of the eating disorder doesn't go away, and a lot of the times they want you to get your eating disorder under
this. I can understand.
You have surgery.
Yes, you literally have to be able to prove that you can not eat yourself into a ruptured stomach.
Actually, good carbs are good for diabetes. Actually, good carbs have a lot of fiber and they actually absorb slowly in the bloodstream, so they don't spike your insulin if you're eating pure sugar. But there's actually some studies that have shown that high fat actually affects your blood sugar as well. Research that. I was doing some studies on that.
I'm not doing anything.
Fruit does not require insulin to be pushed into the cells or whatever.
Or whatever.
So.
Dr. Foodie Beauty. Okay. From my understanding, fructose still affects your blood sugar.
I know what you mean. I think there's a certain...
Probably not as bad as refined sugars.
You get excited because you keep searching for that magic fix, that one that's going to
like
work
intuitive
for you.
eating.
And a lot of diets come with their own bells and whistles, you know,
Like
their
intuitive
packaged
eating.
food, like Weight Watchers has Weight Watchers bread,
Like a
and
book.
dinners, and Jenny Craig or whatever has these frozen meals and these bars that they're trying to sell.
Funnily
you.
enough,
It's
they're
like,
all
it's like a
about
chocolate
restricting
bar.
carbohydrates.
You're trying to find some
No, not
way to like
carbohydrates, sorry.
cheat yourself
Restricting
into thinking
calories.
it's not
I
a diet,
misspoke.
you know. So just fucking don't.
Jenny
diet.
Craig is all about the carbohydrates.
Don't diet, because it just, they don't work. They never work long haul, you know. Exactly. Intuitive eating is just basically like goes by your basic fundamental, like, it's for you. It's like tailored to you. Like most diets are one size fits all.
How is it tailored to you?
Tailored to your taking into consideration your own biological makeup, your genetics, things that
The
play a
advice is
role
as
in
general
weight gain
as
and stuff like that, you know.
general pants.
Hormones. Fat Belly Kid, you're starting to like get on my nerves. Seriously, leave Pink Fairy alone. Thanks. Drown out all the noise and listen to your body, and that is hard. So much harder than people think, you know.
Listening to our bodies got us where we got to. And that's what it is. I'm not saying that there aren't elements within intuitive eating that make sense. Respecting your body, respecting your fullness, honor your hunger. Like they make sense in a general, like, self-help book kind of fashion. Yeah, I understand it. But, like, no. Absolutely not. You can't tell me that I should be respecting my hunger at 135 kilos honoring my hunger, when my hunger in my stomach, I couldn't tell you what hunger felt like at 135. I could tell you what being bored and wanting food felt like. And in my head, that was hunger. Head hunger. Not tummy hunger. That's a joke. I understood what head hunger was because it was me wanting to perhaps not emotionally eat, but eat out of boredom. Boredom was a big thing. So, yeah, in regards to intuitive eating being specifically developed for each and every individual, no, ma'am. Because guess what? Not each and every individual has non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and elevated levels of blood sugar. Not every individual does. So that's my argument on that.
Somebody who's learning that, and then you see people doing all these things and trying keto again, and, you know, that's what I meant by my comment. Like, I was trying to help, but
no, I don't
obviously
think you
that
were.
backfired. So I'm never going to do it again.
You shouldn't have done it in the first
I've been
place.
nothing but nicer. I stood up for her so many times, but she doesn't want to. She believes what these people and these reaction channels are saying is justified. She thinks by not going against them that they're going to stop talking about her or pat her on the back or ass or wherever she wants to be patted, you know?
I can't really speak to having people create reactionary content on my own, right? What I can say is that you can handle it in many different ways from my perspective, right? There is the age-old saying in the age of the internet, you can feed the trolls or you can let them starve, right? The problem with defending yourself in this manner is that that's what it does. It gives more content. Whether or not the conversations are justified or relevant, whatever. But ultimately, you're creating more content, and more content gives people the ability to look into an individual's slice of life. And who boy did this live stream do that?
I'm not even there yet. Like, my dietitian therapists have said nothing about how to eat at all.
How are you going to give someone advice about how they're eating when your dietitian and therapist haven't given you advice on how to eat at all? I caught this and I'm surprised I haven't heard more about it because this is quite late into the nonsense. What's the story? Has your dietitian and therapist just said, here's a book on intuitive eating, good luck. Bye. Like, is that it? Is that what's happened? Or perhaps the therapist may be incorrectly labelled. This is all a theory, right? Might actually be a counsellor, not a therapist. And they might be a counsellor pushing these 10 principles of intuitive eating. Because like we found at the start of the video. You can sign up to be a counselor on this thing. So, I don't know. I'm just skeptical, man. I'm just skeptical.
And yes, you can eat actually, mukbangs do help because a lot of the time I take pauses when I'm talking. Mm-hmm. So there is the possibility to slow down. It's not like having the camera on while I'm eating is like automatically causing me to eat fast, you know? It's something you can do on and off
That's just
camera.
nature. But also that's
You
an
know
argument
what?
that Amber made a lot.
It's my fault because I started opening up about it and talking about it. So now people are never just going to forget that. You know, they're going to pop in here and there, see if I've lost any weight.
Yeah, the sympathy live streams about your health. Yep, you
and
did that.
I'm not supposed to talk about it, RT, but...
Oh, this is more money, chat. $1,000 a month, she says.
Social Blade is way off,
I don't believe that.
Way off.
Okay.
I'm having a few Doritos. Just a few.
The $1,000 a month comment is interesting to think about. I, as a content creator myself, and a much smaller one at that, I don't think that's truthful unless you had a large number of your... How many she made this week? 5 videos this week, maybe? Unless a lot of those videos were not being monetized by either the content creator themselves or the restrictions that YouTube has. So I don't necessarily think that's correct. If that was in reference to AdSense, if it was in reference to Super Chats, maybe that might be it. I don't know. I don't know what the question was. I love myself enough to not have been reading the chat of this live stream. Because absolutely not. Also, pizza's here. Oh, and Doritos. These are not Cool Rage Doritos. They're just sweet chili, I think. I think is not the best flavor, in my opinion.
I don't know why you said that.
Also, I don't believe there's a plate there. I think it's just eating it straight off the bench.
That's not your intuition telling you to eat the whole bag. That's your eating disorder.
What's the difference, though? Intuitively, I might feel like the whole bag.
I've had these chips since my last grocery thing. Oh. You follow your heart. And if you do eat half the bag, oh well, happens sometimes.
Intuitively.
I can't eat half a bag of chips anymore.
Good job, Pete.
Like, I used to be able to do that, no problem. But I...
Yeah.
Who's criticized me rolling around? You're not going to tell me Jen has criticized me rolling anywhere. Because the only time I roll is in my kitchen, not down the hall.
The lyrics, they see me rolling, they hating, have just come to my mind. So here, Jen had commented to say something about sitting on the chair, the rolly chair in the kitchen. Now there's going to be a little bit of a kerfuffle over Jen in the wheelchair versus Foodie in the office chair. Just a courtesy FYI, really.
I can still clean off my car and walk around a store. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So fuck off. Like, seriously, you're in a friggin' wheelchair. What the hell?
Sounds like ableism.
I didn't okay, you're getting deleted. You're stupid. Danny, go fuck yourself. Bye.
Sounds like rudeness.
I didn't criticize anything. So eat shit.
Just criticize someone
wheeling around your
is in a
kitchen,
wheelchair.
really? She's a crazy friggin' bitch. She's crazy. Okay. You live in a motorized wheelchair. And you're gonna criticize me. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. I don't friggin' shame you for it, but you're obviously delusional. Delusional.
I think you just did.
I don't make fun of other fat people because I'm fat. And you're bigger than me. Like, almost twice my size. So...
Wasn't she saying just before
I would take advice and probably not do that either because it looks like...
Overweight reaction
what is that,
channels?
pot calling the kettle black? Yeah, some good Christian you are, Jen. Right.
Okay.
Like, stop watching me and go to bed. What the
this.
fuck? Go watch your monitor where you spy on people and they're on the camera. She friggin' sits there, has her camera. I hate people like that. My grandmother... My grandma's old building had that spy camera in the lobby. So basically what would happen is you could put it on a TV channel and you could see people walking in and out of the building. People who have no life do that. Like, why would you watch that all day?
Safety.
It's so stupid and creepy.
I don't know.
Oh my god. I've never in my life I think being insulted by Jen about me sitting in a chair in the kitchen is more insulting than anything Charlie's ever said.
You heard it here.
Jen weighs 200 pounds more. Exactly, Amberlynn. Exactly.
Oh, there's Amber stirring the pot.
200 pounds more and is in a wheelchair 24/7, but yet makes fun of me for being in the kitchen on my chair right now. What do you want me to do? Like, I'm at your level right now. Amberlynn spitting facts. About fucking time. She deserves a voice too. And fuck anyone who says differently.
Everyone deserves a voice. It's the consequences of that voice that we have to deal with.
People are so insane.
Okay, let's stop saying
Keep being delusional, Jen. Keep being delusional and watching my stream. I don't watch you. I've unsubscribed when you pulled out your starting fucking keto again with your friggin' clickbait title. Well, if my supporters are being jerks, they're not really supporters then.
True supporters aren't jerks.
No, I have no debt, thank you.
Yes, more money.
What are people doing? Just making up random lies now? Or trying to find dirt? How much did you spend trying to find that false information? I hope you had to spend a lot of money on that. Losers. Go ahead, dig up what you want. I got no dirt. And even if I do, who cares? Who doesn't have dirt? And if I did owe the government money, what's it your business? Why do people find things about people's past and try to bring it up like we give a shit? If I had debt, who cares? A lot of people have debt. I wouldn't be the only one. Get a life, honestly. Keep trying. Keep trying. You know?
I'm just letting this run.
I have no debt. You don't want to know why? I'll share this with you because I'm not ashamed. I had a bankruptcy before. So, whatever. It's something I had to do at the time. You know, it's my business. I don't care. Like, whatever. I don't get this, debt shaming bullshit, you know? Like, at the time I had, like, hardly any money. I was letting things get out of control. That's my business.
I can't really speak on this too much. I have been very fortunate to be able to not have to experience something like this. I kept this in for posterity's measure. That's all. Just to get a clear overview of the best/worst of all of the discussions that were happening in this live stream for anyone who cares to watch this multi-hour feature film with me. Yeah, okay. It's curious in that the conversation in regards to how much is spent on, just mentioned in this live stream, how much is spent on fast food a month, the reference to how much money is made on YouTube a month, and now the discussion about maybe not managing money very well. Just putting things into perspective. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what bankruptcy in Canada looks like either, so I can't really.
Your Alexa just went off. I'm the one who's being fat shamed today by Jen of all fucking people.
I think
Life by Jen.
You fat shamed.
Oh my
in return
God.
or
Wheeling
in
around
retaliation? No.
Better than
Probably
wheeling around
not.
my entire building. Jesus Christ. A French lover. She has well, I guess at least she has
I'm gonna call that ableism. I'm gonna call that out as an ism. Problematic, absolutely. Charged language, absolutely. Repugnant is my favorite word to use in regards to language like this. Because it's not just about the individual that you're trying to very poorly insult. And again, there's been a lot of insults over the last couple of weeks. It's not just about that. You have to understand that similar lived experiences are experienced by everybody. So hearing someone shame another individual by using a turn of phrase, go react to something important like the Holocaust, telling someone they're going apeshit, calling people insane or psychotic, shaming people living in, parents' basements, and now basically saying, well, I'm better than you. Again, this is the distance in the whole conversation, because she keeps saying you're all so bad for thinking you're better than me, while sitting here trying to say I'm better than this person. Again, whataboutism. well, at least I can get up and scrape the ice off my car, or at least I can get up and walk around a shop. Chantel, you may be thinking you're addressing one individual. However, again, similar lived experiences with everyone. Watch your language. But I don't think she cares. And I don't think she's intelligent enough to realize that, like, saying shit about an individual doesn't only impact that individual. Particularly on a public platform where you have audience members from all walks of life. So to come out here and say, well, I'm better than this individual because they're in a wheelchair and I'm not, because that's essentially like what this train of thought boils down to, this conversation boils down to. To say that to people who find themselves in wheelchairs, or in, not to them, but in the context where someone who is in a wheelchair may feel similarly, called out, it's just bad, right? You're not sitting here trying to give an opinion on anything. You're not sitting here trying to give advice or your perspective on anything. And you're not sitting here trying to unpack something, right? You're literally just sitting here saying, let me be hateful. Let me pick on this individual and this one thing that I can pick out. But it happens consistently. If it's not a turn of phrase being used in charged manners, it's just calling people out in the same capacity that she cries about being called out on. It's not ticked for tact. It's not. There's a high road up there. It's near the path. It's near that track that we talk about not being able to find. That's where it is. It's up there. So if you don't like being fat shamed, allegedly, then what makes you think doing the same in return to other people isn't just as bad? It is just as bad. You can't use the defense, I'm defending myself. I'm defending myself from all of these horrible people out here who are shaming me and who are hating on me. All you're doing is perpetrating the hate. That's what you're doing. And do you have a right to respond to everything that you get? Yes, absolutely. But it is so important to learn to do it in a better way, because it's gross and it's charged. And even if it doesn't, cut up the person who you're aiming it at, it doesn't matter. There's an entire group of individuals who have lived similar experiences, who have probably been called similar charged phrases or names, that may be within your audience, and maybe they are some of your supporters, and maybe they're now realizing, holy shit, like, what? If they haven't realized before now, I'd be surprised, but holy shit, goddamn, I couldn't hold it in. I've been relatively calm for this entire video, but so many examples over the last week, 2 weeks, have worn away at any sense of she doesn't know what she's saying. She knows what she's saying. Ultimately, it's a tricky discussion, right? Not tricky necessarily, but sticky. Because just be better. Just be better. Just understand that people are going to have opinions that differ from you. That doesn't mean they're hateful. But also understand that, yes, there are people out there who are going to be awful and be hate-filled. But the way to react to hate is not with more hate. It's to call it out, recognize it for what it is, and say that it's not okay. Racism, not okay. Xenophobia, not okay. Bigotry, not okay. Shaming people, literally, as Chantel says almost every video, not okay. So if you feel as if you are being attacked, if you're being the subject of, or the target of hate, it's not okay. Right? That's all. And in regards to Foodie's circumstance, I suppose, we have already, like, in my mind, I have already associated the fact that she doesn't really, she probably understands hate, but to link people's differing opinions in with hate makes me question how much she realizes just how problematic what she does is. Because it is. It's charged. Anyway. And that's not a pass at all. That's just ignorance. And not wanting to learn to be better.
You want to watch? I know, yeah. They're going to milk this for content for weeks and try to make me look bad somehow. I don't care.
Less than a week, I'm getting this out.
Nobody cares about you, Hater Nation. Nobody gives a shit about you anymore.
Not in Hater Nation. I'm a reaction channel.
That's fat shaming, Nora. Because what's the comment? It's about being in a chair. So being derogatory about me being in a chair, wheeling around, that's kind of an ableist comment, really. Okay?
So you just fat shamed.
Number one, she's way worse off physically than I am. I mean, sorry, but I can outwalk you any day.
Again, the ableism.
She can dish it out all the time, but can't even take a little comment and cry about it. And I wasn't ho-shaming her. I was ho-shaming her during COVID.
That was in reference to Callie. I kept that in for posterity.
Hussy is lucky I don't strike their channel again, honestly. They made another one. They would get taken down in a heartbeat for bullying like they did the first time. Maureen. Life by Jen, Maureen. Called me, fat shamed me. Preschool behavior from a 55-year-old. How fucking lovely is that? Ugh, anyway, makes me sick. Yeah, we just want to have a good time. Go away. Stop shaming me in your thing section, Jen. Oh my god, Michael B. Loser is still watching my videos? Fuck, get a life. Aren't you in college? Aren't you, like, trying to better yourself? What's your problem? Jesus Christ. Get a life. Ugh. Sorry, I don't speak moron or answer stupid questions. Thanks for the money. Keep sending some. You can save me your things if you want. Just keep sending money. Yeah, exactly, Snatch Batch. I don't care if people find it funny that I have diabetes. I don't really give a crap what they think about that.
I don't think that's funny.
Like, they're not going to shame me for having it. I don't care. You know?
Cautionary tale, not shame.
There's nothing you could say about me physically or anything. There's nothing you could say about me that I haven't heard worse. I don't care. Your words mean nothing, you know?
I felt this pretty deep. This has nothing to do with Chantel. This is me and my lived experience. I felt this pretty deep because there were many periods in my past where I have felt exactly what is being said here. Say what you want, it doesn't matter. I've heard worse. But also, I was really angry at the world. I thought the world owed me something. I thought people would be polite regardless of how nasty I was. So there's some commonality that I am understanding here. And it would chalk up the theory of the echo chamber. You have to be surrounded by the support and the love, and anyone who kind of crosses that boundary, which means having a different opinion, basically results in this type of reaction. I didn't realize until now just how beneficial therapy will be, because it's not just about the food. It's not just about the emotional connection to the food. There's a lot to unpack, in my opinion. It's a lot to unpack.
But coming from Jen, I'm just joking. Yeah, Michael, whatever his fucking name is such a joke because, like, how long has it been? 3 years and you're still obsessing over what I say to try to make me look bad? Get a life. You need a life, seriously. Or you need a freaking, I don't know what you need. Like, but you need something. There's got to be something for your condition out there, honestly.
The mental health shit.
He's full of shit, too. And he has a personality of, like I always say, prison bred. And his voice is so whiny, I can't take it. I don't know how people watch that. Seriously.
I believe that was in reference to
Zachary all the
Michael.
time, so what? I don't make fun of her for being in a chair. I don't give a shit.
But you did.
No, I always stood up for her. Always. When people would say, I would leave comments sometimes and get attacked by vicious trolls for saying they're being ableist for her. Like, so what if she's in her chair? And here she is, taking their side. Absolutely disgusting.
You just
I'm going to throw up later
because
of you, Jen. Yeah, I bet that got your little willy little excited, didn't it, Michael B. Sweaty?
Did everyone catch that?
People get all friggin' horny for drama.
No, not here for the drama. Here to learn some lessons. Particularly about content and what can be gotten away with.
You're obviously carb deprived. Have a Snickers. Don't feel bad about it. And go to bed.
That's why I want Jen to, like, just kick ass for a year.
I'm just having a night where...
Prove the haters wrong, you know?
I'm convicted of manslaughter now. So let me get this straight.
We were very confused about this.
I'm an anti-Semite, racist, diabetic with no feet, convicted of manslaughter charges, and in debt for $37,000. Is that right?
No, some of those things I'd agree with.
Right, Joe?
In my opinion.
Just making sure. I understand the accusations. Oh, yeah, and I hate... Oh, right, yeah. Do you see how that works, the twisting of things?
No. What?
Hi, Sam. I should get my nails. I'm not going in COVID Central.
Oh, I was waiting for her to reference the manslaughter comment because
Joe,
no one.
Hear I'm a manslaughter. I'm a murderer now.
There it is. I think yeah, we couldn't nail down where it was from. It was a comment, clearly.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. You remember that flying shrimp in my video?
Lobster.
It actually flew.
Red lobster.
Out the window.
I didn't watch that. Oh god.
Hit an old man in the head.
Got so many sports to do in the future.
Didn't make it. Mike. Oh no! I don't want to have a meal right now. Like, it's been a while since I ate. Hey!
Yeah, there's been some veggies and some dip and some beans and some Doritos.
But I don't feel like eating breakfast. I'm probably going to stay up late. Go get cat food when they open. Do my errands, come back.
I don't feel like a meal. Doritos.
No purple vinegar. And I don't judge people on their past because, you know, everyone has a past. I don't listen to rumors. You know, that's where a lot of hate I get comes from, too, is people with eating disorders or obesity problems hating that I do mukbangs. You know? And they just lump mukbang into this big negative thing. Like, no matter what I'm eating. You know? Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Don't watch then. If it triggers you or whatever your problem is, you know what I mean?
Not triggered, just interested. And screaming to the high heavens that it doesn't seem healthy.
Like, you're only making it a problem because... It's only a problem because you're making it a problem. Like, it can be a positive thing for a lot of people. Like,
mukbanging?
You know,
monetarily, yeah. And the food, like, there's that.
Why so angry? Because people are stupid. I hate people today. Thank you. I love that. Don't throw them back. Yeah, because these people I'm addressing are going nowhere in life, obviously. So, after the stream,
yeah,
I'll take it down, let them upload it so they can jerk off to it, and that's it.
Nah, just gonna react. And I'm going places, mate.
Whatever, Joe. Honestly, I'm allowed to bitch if I want to, okay? I hate when people tell me what to do.
You're allowed to say what you want, but consequences.
I know the difference between opinion and hate. Trust me. Thank you.
Do you?
And I don't need opinion on how to live my life. Why are people opinionated on how I live my life? Seriously.
Because you put your life on
worry
YouTube.
about your own life. I've heard it so many fucking times. There's nothing you're gonna say to me about my diet or whatever. I haven't heard a million times. Okay, you know, like, what do people think? They see a fat person eating and they go, "I bet you she never heard that she shouldn't be eating that before." What? I don't get it.
Everything that I say, although may benefit Chantel in some way, in some world, it may. The conversations and the unpacking and the criticism and the comment that I make is not for Chantel. It's not. It's for the audience that sees elements of themselves and may just need someone to talk to about it. Not that I would be the person to talk to, but just appreciates someone else's perspective on it all. You know? Anyway, this is a lot.
Whatever. Bye. Goodbye. Thanks, Joe.
This is where I thought I would be
fucking
saying
ended.
bye, but
Bye.
there was more.
Go save your time somewhere else. How naive of me to think that people would be good on here. How naive.
It's the internet.
To
I've
prove
been doing it for 4 years.
to them about her fucking cancer. I'll be cold and dead in my fucking grave from eating Wendy's before I ever justify my medical conditions to any of those lowlifes. Ever.
Didn't you come
Ever.
online and do a sympathy live stream about
Right,
the ER
Sam?
visit?
Honestly.
How's
How in God's name would you ever do that? That's
that-
so pathetic.
that different?
Oh my God. Just the thought gives me goosebumps. Oh, I know, SG. They're getting hard thinking about reacting to it right now.
This is gross conversation.
Give me one video, except for like the occasional
Again,
ranting
posterity.
live stream, where I've talked shit on any of these people ever.
Like
Ever.
every live stream that you
Never.
delete.
Not one. Maybe one, if that. Like the one Charlie video. Never.
Yep, but live streams
I'm
are
sorry
content.
that I'm defending myself a little bit tonight.
I'll let you go on. Live streams are content. Everything that you say on a live is just as much content as it is if it's a produced, edited, monetized video. Because particularly if you're a problematic individual, people are going to be watching, and she knows that, clearly. She just, doesn't care. But, yeah, everything you say, everything you show, everything you do. So don't sit here and say, well, I've never gone off on people except for the occasional live stream. It's like, what are you talking about? This entire week has been this live stream nonsense. 2 weeks. That's all it's been. And do you know what the ultimate takeaway for me as an audience member is? Like, my God, you use some problematic language. That's what my takeaway is. And now that there's
I'm kind of annoyed that there's so many people watching when I'm being a total
Jen
bitch.
thing.
But whatever. There's no
happening.
drama, of course. I'm not unhappy, Lola. You're the one unhappy being here for, like, what? You don't obviously don't like me, so why are you here?
Spectacle. And education. And criticism. And
Jealousy
comment.
of what, Meg? List some things I should be jealous of. My life is very good compared to people who sit there and pick apart my life all day, like you, so fuck off.
I'm going to speak on my own perspective on that comment. I'm very happy. I choose to be happy. I choose to find some semblance of joy. I am happy when I see something I don't understand and then learn about it and unpack it and unravel it and kind of I feel an element of success. I do enjoy feeling success, which is why I enjoy the career that I have and the ability to take projects and to turn them into things. I enjoy all of that. I have a lot of joy and happiness in my life. I don't know if the same can be said at this time with what we're seeing into this window of life, but yeah. Anyway,
You know what I'm jealous of? Name some things.
you may be jealous of
I can't think of a
unhappiness,
single thing that I would be jealous of from any of these people.
missing out on
Jealous.
happiness.
Like, are you sure you wanted to use that word? Or were you looking for something else but you have a limited vocabulary? Get a life.
English major over here.
Oh, she pinned my comment too. Of all comments of people calling you a fat piece of shit, this and that, you pin my comment that I thought would fucking help you. You know what? You're a real bitch. You're a bitch
Spine.
because I was trying to help you. Seriously. Fuck you. Good luck with your keto. Fucking chaffles. Sorry, but that, like, I'm so pissed.
Fucking Choffles make me laugh uncontrollably.
She pinned my nice comment. And do you know how many people leave hateful shit to her? Like, I obviously hit a nerve or something. I don't know what her problem is.
I think...
Seriously.
I mean, I don't know
She
if
pinned
her
it there because
nerves
she wants
been
people
hit.
to go attack it, like the haters, so she can be on their side.
I don't think it's about sides.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, so you had a problem with it. Why don't you just, I don't know, delete it or leave a comment under it or message me like a fucking human being.
Why didn't you just message
attention-seeking,
her?
drama-seeking friggin' person. Like, why pin it and then
Why
make a
did you comment
dissertation
on
your
her
community
videos?
post, then fucking fat shame me about my wheeling in the chair. Ugh, it pisses me off. She's not worth it. She's a nobody. Nobody ever got anywhere in life friggin' staring at lobby cameras all day. On her clickbaity thing, making it sound like she was pregnant, but she was really just starting keto again. Jesus.
Yeah, I know, right?
Anyways, I don't have anyone to blame for myself for letting this get to me.
Well,
'Cause seriously, who gives a shit? Like, these people are irrelevant. Irrelevant.
but you did just spend like 4 or 5 hours doing this, so...
They can dissect it all they want. Every bit of what I said tonight was said in a bitchy way, but it was all truth. All truth. Money makes everyone feel better. The moral of the story.
Subjective truth.
I thought you said no more drama. I always say that, and I just can't stop. Fuck.
And there we have it. Okay, well, oh boy, that was a lot. That was awful. That was actually awful. That was the first, I think one of the first times I've caught a live in the wild like that. And obviously halfway through an hour into the live, we started playing Stardew Valley. Feel free to jump into a live stream in the future if you made it this far and you wish to. Ultimately, problematic, completely disassociated, rage-filled, and I learned a lot. I did. Just so mad. So mad. And it is interesting. Again, I kept a lot of that stuff in for posterity because it will be interesting to see what happens moving forward. I have not seen the latest HelloFresh Cook and Eat with me or the Only Eating Tim Hortons for 24 hours yet. We'll get into it. I am behind on the mukbangs. I have a plan for Fitness Friday, which we'll do. Some of these may require a little bit more sit down and chat. So we'll see when we get there. Anyway, if you got to this point in the movie, I mean, it is a feature-length film. If you got to this point in the video, thank you so much. As always, I appreciate your comments, opinions, and eyeballs, and your time, of course, because you joined me for a length of time. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.